a lot. Then again, I also want to say, what I've learned from the passing of my wife is, when is the right time to prepare for death? When is the right time to prepare for death? It's now. It's now. Is death real? Yeah, it is. Can it happen to me? Yes, it can. And if it does, where will I spend eternity? I pray that it will be far from you, far from us, but it's one thing that we can never, never avoid permanently. It will certainly come one day. And again, I repeat, appreciate your loved ones. As I appreciated my wife, I still appreciate her today. Even last night as I slept, I still saw her in my dream. So the bond is still there. Now some people come to me and they say, what are you thinking about? It's time now. It's about 2 years now. And I'm just looking at them. Yeah. So, because the appetite for anything called relationship is not there. Because it was such a wonderful relationship. Recently, somebody said, look, if you keep benchmarking women with your wife, you will never get married. And I said, I'm not even thinking of it for now. So, to round it off, appreciate one another, those of us who are married. And the Lord will grant you long life in Jesus' name.
Keep clapping. Keep clapping. Keep clapping. Please keep clapping for him. Please, somebody should bring water for him. Water. Please keep clapping. You may be seated. Please keep clapping. Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you so much. Thank you for being so composed. It's true. He was running away from everybody. Even me, he was dodging me when it first happened. And because I've been there, I kind of understood. So you don't press. That's one thing we also know. Sometimes when people don't pick your call when they're grieving, it's not that they're vexing with you or anything. It's not about you, really. So I just knew to just give him his space. And I remember even I had to really reflect and think before I could call him to ask him. Okay, no. It was Ike that I had to do. The fear was so much. Ike's one was audio note. I couldn't even ask him one-to-one. But I think for Nick, we were actually sitting. No, we were walking outside, and I was like, because I could feel that maybe he had gotten to a point where he wanted to talk. So it's okay, Graciana, just be on standby. So we're on the curb, on the road, and I was like, Nick, how far? I think you can. And he was like, I think I will. But even then, I wasn't really sure. Then when the time was drawing closer, I went again to now confirm, are you? And it was like, yes, I will come and share from my heart. But I knew then he was really still very emotional about it. And hearing him speak about his wife and their relationship and all of that is really, really inspirational, I think. And now we kind of understand the depth of his pain and what he went through. But there's something that he did say, and I think it's key. And I personally still struggle with it. We think we have time to stop vexing and loving our loved ones. We think I'll just vex one more day, and then tomorrow. You don't know tomorrow. So please listen to him. If you are carrying shoulder for somebody today, you might want to, even as we're here, start WhatsApping the person. I'm coming to say sorry properly. Don't worry, let's just forget about it. Because you don't know how long you have. You really don't know. And really, as Christians, remember the Sholly Love Talks. If you are walking in love, there's facts as to why we shouldn't walk in vex. And there's a spiritual side of it as well, that if we are God's children, we are called to walk in love no matter. It's not about what the other person does. So thank you so much, Nick, for sharing with us from the depth of your heart. Graciana, please just give me that interlude. Let me just gather myself and then know where we're going for here. Yeah, I just want us to just reflect on the words of this song, one of my favorite songs. And maybe you want to just stand up a bit and shake. You've been sitting down for quite a long time for safety. Just maybe want to stand up, please. Just stand up and stretch a little bit. Everybody, please. It's for your health. Just like stretch your legs a little bit. You know, they say sitting is the new smoking. We sit too long. So just stretch a bit, stretch a bit. Thank you. And listen to the songs. Why don't you just give me, maybe you have my number. So text me the number. Yes. 63401. Just text me. Okay, people. All right, people. Stroll back, stroll back, stroll back. My dearest brother, is Inyolua here yet? Huh? She's supposed to go second, no problem, because even if she comes. Okay, market is over. Oh yeah, market people, close your shop. Okay, okay. Please let's come back. I want to call my brother Ike to come up next, but I want to appreciate people who were in the room. The first 20 or 25 people who were in the venue. Can I have the list, please? Tolu Lokpe Onyiloye. Can I have my list of first? I don't know what you have there. 20, 25. Merci beaucoup. No, this is the first list of. Oh, VV means venue. Oh. No, I don't understand. Tolu Komo. Ele yato. Nice. This is the first 20. Okay. First 30. Let's see how it goes. Just put one by each. Okay. I want to do this very quickly. Okay, this is just to give you time to like prep and get ready. Thank you. All right, please can we settle down? I don't want to see anybody at the back. Don't want to see anybody, please. Help us. Okay, so is that what I want to do? Okay. Right, so first 30, if I call your name, Shola, what do we do? Where would they stand? Should they just come and stay here? Right here. Should we move the cake? So that we can we can do everything just at once so it doesn't take. So if I call your name, please come up. I knew Adebukola Anishere. Yes, please clap for them. That means they were here. She was number 1 in the venue. Do you know what that means? You deserve a hug, Joe. Thank you. And this is not the first time she's doing this. But I think this is the first time she's number 1. Abiola Anishere. Did you come together? Thank you. Ayeni Olumide. Otobo Princess. Oluwatobi Shola. Abiola. Are you sure this is first people in Tolu? Is this first people in the venue? Are you sure? First present attendees. How did she even manage to be number 5? Merci Oyiloye. Temitope Akonde is here. Where is she? Okay. Ngozi Ibuaka. Yay. Pam Pam. Please come. Please clap for them now. I'm very emotional today. You're not helping me. Honestly, I'm really trying. I was just telling my friend that I'm struggling. But I'm just trying to dig deep into the well of joy inside of me. I don't know why, but I'm really struggling. So please don't make the struggle fiercer. Help me. Help your sister. By clapping and laughing and knowing. I know everything. Alexander Oyibode. Peter Lopez. Nwabuno. Adeniran Sarah Akpayemi. Obowumi Fasasi. Yay! Where's Obowumi? Okay, Amaka, yes. Amaka Ikewaleji, Chioma Chuku. My cousin Divine, Kemi Adefolalu. Okay, but Shola, we should do it in batches because how are you going to take the photograph? You can? Huh? You can. You can get everybody in. Okay, let me call them. Okay. Stella? Kanu? Stella? Yay! Judith Anadu. Judith, where are you? Oh, nice. Regina Siegu. All my people. I like it. Adewale Lupiton. Bukoye Damilola. Success Alex Oyibode. Lawal. Abolanle. Miriam. Miriam, where are you? Miriam. She's not here? No, she must be if she's on this list though. Miriam. Where's Miriam? Miriam. 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 Where? Oh, Mary. Okay, I thought it was because you said Mary. Oh, of course I know you. Of course. All right. Helen Omotere Usman. Okay. Uchechukwu Onoaku. Uche, where are you? No wonders. You're hiding behind there. Oh, ushers, you allow people to hide in the back. Okay, I'm coming to meet you. All right. Olubumi, Oluwole, Ajibola Omoyemi, and Aboje and Taiwo Olayinka. Taiwo! Oh, yeah, you came. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to make this quick. Wherever it's finished, let me know. Oh, you mean them? Oh, them. Yes. The speakers should come to the front, and then people should just walk by and take, and then you'll be taking the picture like that. Oh, that's fun. Okay, so you are going to be like a factory conveyor belt. They're going to come. So it's like beauty contest. Let me practice. These are Sholly berets. Sholly is becoming a brand now. We have beret, we have earrings, we have bags. Very soon we'll open supermarkets, maybe after 2020, you know. So, but the essence of these prayer berets, they're actually for prayer. So don't think it's just for fashion. We pray over them, and we ask you to wear them when you are praying as a point of contact to what we believe that God is able to do when we spend time with Him. So you can wear them, but wear them especially when you're praying to remember that God answers all our prayers. And also when doing the catwalk, I will take the beret back. You must, even the men, you must like strut, like GQ, you know. Look at your watch like this. You know. Yes. That makes sense because you have a beret now, Bumi. You don't? Don't worry, see me later. This short? Two more. Okay, who are the other last two people? One. Oh, Mr. Alex is person, it's home people, don't worry. I'll see. But still line up. Don't worry, I'm coming to you. Yeah, won't remind me about husbands matter. Thank you, my guest speakers. You may go to your seat. Or maybe you should stand with them and take a picture. Charlotte, how are you doing? You're good? It's very wide though. Okay. But can I join? Thank you. Thank you for being here early. Thank you for being an encourager. Thank you so much. Okay. So I really appreciate people who come early. I actually appreciate the whole idea of killing African time. I knew when it started raining today that, it would be a struggle, but people were still here on time. And I was so at peace when that rain started. It was like, I don't know about your area, but it was fierce where I was. But what was doing me wasn't about the rain. Me, I was like, this rain will stop, But there were other things, other voices singing in my head. But I've muted them. And I encourage you to always, the voices will always be there because devil has no other work. But we have to keep on telling him who we are, telling him that we know who we are, telling him that he may be thinking that he's shaking, but it's just raw, it's noise, and just what's that thing they say? Get out here. Get out here. Yeah, so I'm an expert in that. So I'm really grateful to be here, and I thank you for being here, especially those of you who came early. So now I'm really very happy. I apologize. That the refreshments are not here yet. But excellence, Nigerian factor, me and the vendor will have a discussion after. But please, if you're doing something, if you're doing a service, put your all in it. Come on. We agreed 11:30 for 12 delivery to the guests, and we're still looking at watch. But that's not the part that's even doing me. But it's okay. Mr. Ike Waleji, I know if nobody else claps, I know one person is clapping in the audience. As you come up, I'd like to please make him feel welcome. Amaka, I can't hear your clap from here now. That's his wife. Thank you so much for being here today. I just want to appreciate you again specially. And I look forward to hearing from you along with my guests. Bless you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. It's already afternoon. It's a privilege to stand before you, and I say a very big thank you to my sister. She's my adopted sister. Don't ask me who adopted who. When she asked me if I would be willing to do this, my first instinct was a no, without even thinking about it. But when I thought deeper, I don't know why she would have asked me, because she has never heard me speak, and I don't remember having much of discussions with her, So I think, like she said, it was truly God, or it's truly God that asked her, I want to start by bringing out the fact that I have passions, and I am driven by some deep convictions and some deep passions. Norman Cousins said, and I quote, "Death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss is what dies inside us while we live." I am coming from a point where I had me die in me while I was living, and I know the date and the place and everything when I died. So I lived. I made the motions of life. I made progress, what you will call progress, but I got frozen to life. When I talk about the church, especially the church in Nigeria, don't take it personal. I'm a Christian, and that's my background, and I hold it with everything in me. So my experience revolves around that. Anybody that has known me even for 1 hour will tell you that. So when I refer to the church and my experiences, it's not personal. These are some of the things that are driving me, up till today. My experience is a continuum. It continues. I grew up in a family, a middle-class family, like any other normal child. I had a wonderful childhood, brought up in a Catholic home, strict Catholic regulations. I never had the opportunity. In fact, I never opened a Bible apart from the secondary school religious knowledge days. And then was an above average student, did well at 16. I was ready for the university, waiting to get in, had an excellent result in JAMB, even though unfortunately I was cut off. I couldn't get medicine, which had always been my childhood dream, to be a medical doctor. At that interval, when I was waiting to get into the university, I got born again. I gave my life to Christ. My sister invited me to a campus fellowship that she was attending, and I gave my life to Christ. And that's an experience I wouldn't trade for anything. Somehow, I got really involved with Christ, with God, with church, because it was a totally different experience. When I began to study the Bible, I think the day I got born again, the pastor was preaching about rapture. I had never heard of it in my life. So when I came out, I am like that. I stepped up to him and said, I thought he was telling a story, which was really interesting. And he showed me, he said it's in Revelations. In Christianity, when you get born again, they tell you to start from John, the book of John. But I started from Revelations. When I told him I was reading, he said, no, go back to John. They are too deep. I couldn't. I locked myself up. I read it over and over and over again. It wasn't making sense, and at the same time, it was making sense. That was how I got really involved. And there were so many experiences, and, God was using me. I was happy about it. And then my pastor, a young man, then told me that God really wants to use you, and I don't see you wasting 7 years in school. That was how I left school. I was 17, and I wrote another jump, hoping to get into medicine this time, and I performed abysmally. Not I performed abysmally, but it wasn't like my usual performance. And my pastor said, well, you see it's obvious. God doesn't want you to get into school. And I remember some older people in church trying to no, that can't be it. And he showed me 2 scriptures. One was in Nehemiah, where Nehemiah said that when God spoke to me, I did not confer with flesh and blood. So he told me this is not a matter to ask anybody. Then he showed me where Paul said that when God, after his experience with Christ, he went to Arabia. He went to Arabia and studied. And that was how I left school. I left home. I don't want to go into what I went through with my parents for my faith. If you were or ever had a Catholic background, you will understand. I was reported to the bishop. The bishop came looking for me in the house, when we used to jump fence, stuff like that. But this was the one that hit everybody most. I traveled with this pastor. I grew up in Nsukka, the little town of Nsukka, a quiet town where everybody knew everybody. Traveled around Enugu, Onitsha, to Lagos. Then 2 years down the line, we were in Lagos. And one evening he said, let's take a walk. And we talked about everything. At a point he stopped and turned to face me and said, God said, I should let you go. That was so confusing. That day was his birthday, 30th of October. It was so confusing. And he said God almost killed him the previous night, that I should go back to school. He started apologizing. Where do I start from? It was so confusing. Then he put me on a bus the next day, gave me some money, and I went back to Nsukka, and I started preparing for JAMB again. I went to apologize to my parents. They were so happy to have the prodigal son back home. You know, I read like never before. Got involved in another church. Got committed. I couldn't do otherwise. At this point, that was just the life I knew. I couldn't just, but I loved God from the very depth of my heart. And started preparing for JAMB. That was the year there was a change in academic calendar that 2 years were rolled into one. So I had over a year to prepare, and I read like never before. At this point, I didn't see myself reading medicine, as in what will I be doing in numberlists, Things happen, and you don't know how it happened. God created us rational, and He wants us to be rational. God handed over the earth, the whole world, the cosmos, to man, according to Bible. So if He wanted to control it, He would have just from there, be playing us like chess. And I got so messed up that the exam I prepared for more than 1 year, I got into the exam hall and I sat down and I was speaking in tongues and looking at my book, my paper, and expecting God to move. My sister is here, and I'm sure she will be like, no wonder, because I performed badly in the exam, and people are wondering, was it the devil that attacked me? It was not the devil. I sat down and waiting for God to move. God really moved because about 15 minutes to the end of the exam, when the invigilator was saying round up, that was when I don't know what took over me and I started writing. I scored 190 something, but that 190 something, I did it in 15 minutes or less. So that's why I say God moved. If not, I would have submitted a blank sheet. I know somebody else in the same congregation that had the same issue. By then I had my experience and had some understanding. We got a message early in the morning. The guy was supposed to be writing his final exam, professional exam, pharmacy, and he was in his room speaking in tongues. And he said angels have gone ahead to write for him. I remember, my sister is here. She will remember the person. I remember his face and his name. I have a reason for saying this. At the end of the day, even with the poor result, my parents managed to secure admission for me in the University of Agriculture, Makode. I fixed a date to go back to school after a youth program that was coming. And we prepared for the youth program. It was the talk of town, wonderful. The day before I went, my pastor sent for me. So I went prepared to receive blessings, to go forth. When I came in, he was sitting down. 2 other senior pastors were sitting down. His wife was there, a deacon and his wife. And I sat down, the only vacant chair next to him. And one by one, they took turn to testify how I had affected their lives. And some other people were brought in to testify. And my pastor turned to me and said, you see it, what that your pastor told you is true. You shouldn't be wasting your time and the calling of God in school. And I can't say I was convinced, but I don't know why I didn't go to school. So the second time, I didn't go to school. Not because I lacked the capacity or I didn't have it, but I just didn't. I never had issues with school, with studies. In fact, I failed an exam for the first time in my life after I got born again. I was one of those students that were able to make A1 in physics, the core sciences, and A1 in Igbo and the core arts at the same time. And I didn't go to school. I was there. at a point I just couldn't go on, so I quit. I left. The day I left, I was in my parents' house. My parents were not around. My sister was around. My brother was around. Then my pastor came with his wife and another senior pastor. I was in my father's bedroom. I could overhear them in the sitting room. And when he came in, the things he said about me, I couldn't believe he was talking about me. And that was what I say. I remember the day I died. And that day I froze. I froze. I didn't fall out of Christianity. It even gave me more energy, but I had my escape in work and doing the work of God. That was my escape. It was like my opium, but I froze and I didn't want it. In the Church of God, we have a lot of broken people. So many broken people that need mending. But unfortunately, the people to mend them are even hurting them the more. A lot happened. I came to Lagos. I registered for JAMB. I read. Somehow got into University of Ado-Ekiti. That was where I had my bachelor's degree. And at least I see one face from my school here, Sister Ola. And I went through school, but I was frozen. And it was deliberate. My biggest weapon was my quietness. So one of the most difficult things you could do is to get through to me. I used to have conversations with myself. Some people, I choose to come out like the person knocks on the door, I come out from the room and receive the person in the sitting room. There's nothing, my hands were open, anything you want I will give you. But I never let anybody inside me. I know one question people that knew me would have asked my wife most is, how do you relate with him? In my final year in school, I had a very bad result in school because I was too confused. I was confused. I didn't know what to do with my life. Even while I was graduating, I was asking where do I fit in? The pressure was going to the ministry, work in the ministry, but I refrained because with everything in me, I detested working in the ministry. I gave my support 100%, but I detested it because I just didn't want to be like them. That's what I tell myself whenever I have that conversation in my head. I don't want to be like them. I gave all my support. Because of my background, my life is surrounded by church and church folks. So maybe that's why my experiences are about church folks. I don't know much about what happens outside. I've not really dealt so much with them. But in my work experience, I am self-employed. My worst experiences were with church folks. Yeah. But this is the narrative, by God's grace, I am about. Because that's the experience of so many. But for me, it wasn't an option living. Because in all this, I am just saying what I went through with men of God. But the God of all creation, my experiences with him are out of this world. Yeah, I am a litany of testimonies. That's the part 2 of my story that I am going to tell. In my final year, I was really ill for like a year. Went to hospitals, had many tests, nothing. I just kept going sick, going sick, going sick, you know. And I was barely able to defend my project. After defense, the next day I traveled. A day later, I woke up, or rather, I didn't wake up, and I ended up in the hospital. And finally, they said I had tuberculosis. It had damaged my right lung, and that began another chapter in my life. From Dr. Hammond's hospital here in VI to Mount Pleasant in Surulere. Did 1 month there, had 3 surgeries, and they said they sent me to UCH, Ibadan, where I spent the next 9 months of my life. You know, different surgeries, different things. The fact that I am standing here and talking is a testimony on its own, you know. And God, it was God, you know. Every step of it was a testimony. The consultant that I happened to meet that day saw me and loved me. He took my case personal, you know. How sick I was then, I was weighing maybe like 40. That was how sick I was. And I was looking 6 times my age. I remember when they were, what they call it, clocking me in the hospital and taking the first time. The man came in and straight up started speaking Yoruba to me. So I blanked out. I didn't answer him. Then one of the junior doctors said he understands English. Then the man started speaking Pidgin to me. You know, I refused to answer him. So later, the junior doctor was telling me that, or rather my sister was telling me, they said I looked so old, like someone that came from the village that couldn't hear English. That was how bad it was, you know. When I felt better, and everybody were happy that I was better, I went to school. I had an extra semester. So my invigilator, who turned out to have become the dean of the faculty of engineering in my absence, you know, I went to see him, and his secretary, when he saw me, went to meet the man. He was in a meeting and said Ike was here. The man said he should wait. Tunde, the secretary, went back the second time. The man said he should wait. Tunde was not comfortable, so he said I should show my face. No, Tunde went again, and the man shouted at him. Tunde said I should just open the door and show my face. So I opened the door and showed my face. And the man was about shouting at me, and he looked up. He said, Ike, is that you? I didn't say anything. I was just smiling. And the man just broke down and started crying. That was how bad it was. That was when I even thought, was I this sick? You know. I managed, then it was like they gave me a parole in UCH. When I feel better, I could go home. But I had my room. I don't have to go through processes. If they bring me back, they check me in. So that was how I did my extra semester. I remember once from an exam hall, I went straight to UCH. You know, had several surgeries. I had 20 people come to donate blood for me at a point. And it was awesome having 20 people come and line up to donate blood. But the sad part of it was that they were looking for O negative, and they could only get 1 out of that 20, and they needed 8. So I was on the lineup awaiting surgery for 4 months. And in 4 months, they couldn't get 4. At a point, Prof said, if I get 4, I will do the surgery, though it is very risky. You know. 4 months, they couldn't get 4 pints of O negative. And one day I was in school. I went to follow up on my results. And a number called me. I don't have it saved. It's a glow number. and said there are 4 pints of blood in the blood bank. And I said, who is this? Hung up. Then I called my sister and said, this is what happened. My sister called Prof. Prof was happy and said he will send someone. He sent someone and called back and said, there's no such thing. They have had just that 1 pint for 4 months. As Prof hung up, the number called again with the same message. I called. This time I had Prof's number. He said he would send a more senior person. The same process. Then the 3rd time the number called, I called him. He said, okay, when he's through with what he's doing, he will go and verify himself. So from the blood bank, he calls me to say there's nothing. And as he hung up, the person called again. And I called him. He said he's still standing outside the blood bank, that if I feel strongly about it, I should come in. I said I felt strongly about it. He said, come. I went for the surgery. You know, he's a Christian young man, not young man, old man. His wife is an evangelist. You know, I went in and they were prepping me for surgery, and there was no blood when they needed, by practice, he said 8 pints, but he said he would risk doing it with 4. You know, before then, they had actually asked me to find a hospital and they would give us a referral because the most important equipment he needed, or the equipment he needed, were not available. So money was an issue. We were praying about it and looking for. Then one day he called, after about 2 months of us being on this, he calls my sister and said that he went for a conference or whatever. He spoke at a conference and they gave him a present that he just opened then, and the most important of the equipment was what they gave him, so I could come in. So that was how we got to the point of blood, you know. And then on the morning when they were going to the surgery, all the other doctors were really angry except Prof. You know, I think he was doing it just to satisfy my curiosity because there was no blood, you know. The doctor that was supposed to get the blood from the bank went there and they checked. They said no blood, only 2. And then somebody said, let me see the paper. They took the paper and looked and passed it, and then confirmed that there were 4 pints to give me. You know, that was it. And then we tell it like a story now, but it was a grueling experience because I was in pains all through. I had a chest catheter that had been there for like 7 months. It stayed with me for 8 months. You know, I had pus draining constantly. You know. Moving about was an issue. I was smelling. You know, I was a dead corpse. You know, you couldn't stay with me. You know, and I could do nothing about it. I remember my sister buying me a perfume, Easy Mayaki perfume. It's too strong for my liking, but I had to use it to cover up some. But even with the Easy, you will still know something is wrong. You know. After that, we spent about another 3 weeks, waiting for oxygen. There was scarcity of oxygen, and they needed 8 cylinders. He said 1 would be used during the surgery, then every day 1 would be used. And the prognosis is 21 days in the ICU after the surgery. Mm-hmm. Eventually they had the oxygen. Then on a Friday, the surgery was supposed to be on Monday. NLC went on strike. I remember my mom weeping that day. She was staying with me. And, you know, when it was announced, they discharged everybody. They don't care. they said all of us should go. My mom, after packing, I said she can be going, that I'm not going. She was confused. And we stayed that weekend without care. You were just there on your own. And then by Sunday into Monday morning, the strike was called off. My biggest challenge with surgeries was that anesthesia wears out on me. So there was one, I was practically alive and feeling the pain while they were suturing me. And they were like, we can't give you any more. I remember when I had an endoscopy, I told the matron that I wanted to watch. And she said, don't worry, no matter where I put the TV, the screen, it will slip off. When she noticed I was awake and watching everything, she came to give me more. I watched all through. The only thing was that my sister said we spent 1 hour, 30 minutes, but it was short, like 10 minutes to me. So I walked through the pains practically. I had a surgery that the prognosis was, I had maybe like 20% chance, and I was told, and I signed it, that if it wasn't working, they will remove the lung. But I believed God that it will work. Because while I was sick in school, very sick, by then, when you graduate, you give out everything. I had given out everything. And my pastor gave me a Walkman with tapes. And I was listening to them about healing. And on one of those days, I felt somebody walk into my room. I felt the presence live and gave me a piece of paper, blank piece of paper with a red seal, like somebody sealed it. And I asked, what was that for? He said, is a bill of health. Then I saw the person walk away, and then I came back. I opened my dictionary to check what bill of health means. So that was what I held on to all through. But the surgery went well, everything went well. And instead of 21 days in the ICU, I spent 4. And I used only half cylinder of oxygen. It was something else, because the next morning, the surgery, I came up from the theater like 10:30, 11. The next morning when the doctors came, like 7, the oxygen tube was off my nose, so they were really panicking. They asked me how long it had been off. I didn't know. So they said, but I should have had crisis. So that was how they checked. Everything was okay, and they checked my oxygen level, and it was very high, very, very high. When they called Prof, and all he was saying was, just don't remove the oxygen no matter what is happening. So they gathered around me, removed it for 5 minutes, for 1 minute, for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for the whole day. Some weeks after, they said the lung was not healing the way they wanted, so they wanted to do a repeat surgery. Everything in me rejected the surgery. It got to a point where my sister was even angry. Why are you suffering everybody? Everybody was like, you've gone through the worst part. This is just a corrective, But the way everything in me rejected it, at the end of the day, I succumbed. The night before the surgery, for 3 weeks, incidentally, it was put off. Something will happen, they will put it off. The night before the surgery, after the pre-op rounds and everything, the doctor had left, walked today, and came back and said, let me see the x-ray again. And he looked, and he said, this is 3 weeks old. I won't perform a surgery with a 3-week-old x-ray. That he wanted another one that night. So he was waiting. This was around 11. UCH, they have everything. So like 12, the x-ray was ready. And the man came back and said everything he wanted to do had been done. So he canceled the surgery. I didn't leave the hospital the next day. I spent another 3 grueling months in the hospital. You know, I don't want to dwell so much on what I went in, you know, but it's not been easy, you know. I didn't know what was happening to me, you know, but I took a decision and I froze and I was okay with it. It brings me back to what we're talking about, grieving. How we grieve, it matters. In fact, we are not trained to grieve in our culture, in our environment. You know, they pick up a cane and flog you as a kid, and you shout, and they say, if I hear him, we are not trained to grieve. You know, so we don't even have expression. A lot of people are bottling it in. So you don't even know somebody has gone through that and somebody could help you. Then it is worse when we add our faith to it, our Christian faith to it. Some things seem to be contrary to faith, but they actually are complementary to faith. They are not contrary, they are complementary to faith. I am really trying my best to help that young man overcome his grief. But I'm actually, like they would say, how do you break a bird's wing and tell him to fly? I'm actually breaking the person's wings. Because I don't know better. There are people who are trained to do this. Or I could even say, okay, let me get the training since I have the opportunity to work in this area. My brother, my only brother, he got born again. He was into drugs, and he got born again and threw himself at God with every sincerity. Then that plagued him for years. For years. He got to a point where he was ashamed to own up because everybody is expecting him, you are born again. Then to make it worse, he was called to the altar. So you can imagine what he was living with. He was sincerely trying his best, but he just couldn't help himself, and nobody around him could help him. At a point, he wasn't talking about it. It was a faith walk. But can you imagine if he had gotten help? In 2 years, he would have been clean. And with the desire and the drive he had, he would have been faster. For years, he was there. Because he was just walking a road he knew nothing about. And I tried my best to help him the best I knew. We prayed, we had vigils, we did everything that was recommended to do. But the only thing that was lacking was knowledge. Knowledge. An expert's knowledge. So a lot of times people grieve. So many people around you are grieving that you don't know. And they have prayed to the point of exasperation. They even begin to wonder, is there God? But the only thing lacking is just knowledge. There's somebody you can talk to, and you sit down with the person for 5 minutes, and you'll be through. Through my many years and my experiences, I learned a few things, or so many things, but I'll share a few. Rising is a continuous life experience. You know, one of the things that attracted me so much to my sister Salt, her writing from back in the days, was that she was so real, or she is so real. You know, we live in a place where there's a projection of perfection before your eyes. You understand? The man you're looking up to as a role model, for many of us, it is my pastor figure. He projects a perfection that is too high for me. And I am either struggling and not making it, or I give up entirely. But if we know that these things, if only we know that one day he had his own struggles in certain areas. Yeah. Sorry. If only we knew that he had some struggles too in certain areas, it would help our own faith. Now, rising is a continuous life experience. Just like maintaining your garden, it's something you keep doing. You know, life throws things at you. There's nothing you can do about some of them. They just come. But when they come, you face it. Once you relent, naturally the natural forces will overtake your garden. That's the way it is. So we keep walking. When you pass level 1, level 2 throws its own challenges. And how do you read life signals? You know, when it happens, how do you see it? You know, sometimes we are too conscious of the enemy. I'm not saying the enemy is not there, but let's just be a bit conscious of the friend. Because in the light of the friend, when the friend is there, the enemy becomes a non-issue. If we read Romans 5, I would like to read that. Soon be rounding off. Romans 5, 3-5 in the Amplified Version. Oh, okay. I can't read it. But it's talking about when our afflictions come, they build faith in us. Okay. While I'm trying to open it, let me move to the next one. Life experiences keep repeating themselves until you learn the lesson. Then it becomes a walkover. It becomes a walkover. For my case, somebody will wonder, why was I so stupid to fall for the same story twice? That's the way it is with life. Until you learn that lesson, especially when God is interested. Because one of the things that kept me moving is that at a point, I knew I just have to correct this error. I just have to. It's a very big one. I don't know where to start. But thank God, Salt gave me the opportunity to stand here. If it is one person I'm able to reach today, I'll start with that one person. You know. You're going to stay there, I'm sorry. If you're hurting, I don't know what you're grieving over or what the problem is. This might be bad news to you, but it is good news. You're going to be there until you learn that lesson. And if you jump out, some people jump out, you will meet another experience that will teach you the same lesson. And you will continue until you learn the lesson. So when you are in a situation, calm down. Look within you. Learn the lesson. It might not be obvious. It may be some salient lesson. You might not even see it at all. But when you calm down, by the time you move to the next lesson, you will learn it. It's just like those days when we were in school. You carry over one course, and in your next level, they will refuse you to register a course as a prerequisite. No matter how much you cry, because they expect you to carry some level of knowledge from there to this new one. That's the way it is. One of the hardest things I found, I struggled with, one of the hardest decisions you'll ever face in life is choosing whether to walk away or to try harder. Some people are really working hard when they should have walked away. Some people walked away when they should have worked harder. I was in a relationship for 4 years, for 5 years. When it ended, I saw that I should have walked away 4 years, 7 months ago. I'm sincere. It's true. Yeah, because people even told me, but I thought if I work at it, I know I can. If I work hard at it, I was working. Thank God, God delivered me. You know. The next one, don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask and ask and ask. You know, we are taught not to ask God questions. Who said so? Ask questions. Ask God. Ask your pastor. Ask your leader. Ask. Just be sincere with your questions. God will answer. Keep asking. He will answer. The problem is that sometimes when we ask questions, it becomes like a threat to our seniors. But we should keep asking. Ask God. You must know yourself and have a direction. You know, somebody said that the problem with motivational speakers is that they keep saying, find yourself. Where am I hiding? You know, but you can never know yourself in total. But at least have a direction. For instance, in my case, my passion was to be a medical doctor. So if anybody was going to take me away from that, the person should really convince me on why, not some ephemeral words. All things work together for good unto them that love God. All things work together for good. It doesn't necessarily mean that God brought all things. Some of them I brought on myself by my carelessness. I may have brought it on myself by my some mistakes, or even some other person's making. But God will make it work out for your good if you have God. You know? And even while you are in that situation, it's not time to start crying. You know, make the best out of it. What are you doing while you are in that situation? Because the way forward is with you. You know, I saw a writing somewhere, and the person said, and the moon said to me, my darling, you do not have to be whole to shine. So even in your broken state, you can shine. My time is up, but I have just one more nugget and we're done. Even in your broken state, you can shine. My 2-year-old boy just started school and he was doing his homework coloring. Probably he pressed the crayon so hard and it broke. And he started crying as I was coming. His 5-year-old elder brother was telling him, see, it can still color. And I stopped short in my path. I remember something I saw somewhere, that even broken crayons color. That's the way it is in your broken state. Release your color. I've already asked, how do we grieve? Stop pretending. Stop pretending that you're not grieving. Stop pretending it doesn't hurt. Sometimes it's not even pretext, but just that people don't know. People don't know how hurt they are. Talk about it. If you talk to one person and the person is not giving you the vibe you need, move on. Because what you don't need is a bad vibe for any reason. You know, let us stop pretending. Let us stop acting. Because you're not expected to grieve. In our culture, you're not expected. You know, just like he shared earlier, Mr. Nick, I lost my father, I lost my mother. And those were some bad experiences for me. And I know the things you hear from people when you sit down to analyze them, you know. But that shouldn't stop you from grieving. Let's not pretend that we're not grieving. Life is a project, and all our experiences are sub-projects, you know. The day the project ends, you will stand before your maker, you know. So in life, is either you are green and growing, or you are ripe and rotten. So let's keep growing. Any project we find ourselves, no matter bitter, good, let's get the best out of it. God does not intend to erase your personality. This is the biggest lesson for me. God gave you a personality. If you are the quiet type, God gave you a personality. If you're the garrulous type, God gave it to you. All he wants is to mold it and use it for him. We are an orchestra, and God is the master, producer, and director. So let's just be ourselves and get submitted to him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ike. Okay. Please, another round of applause for him. Because he is not he doesn't speak in public. In fact, this is my first time in my life of hearing him do what he's just done. I do know, though, that he has been a real encourager to me from the get-go, from when I started writing, the moment I met him through his sister. And this story that he has shared with you, very calmly and gentlemanly, I lived it to some extent through the eyes and the life of his sister, who was basically the primary caregiver doing all that he was describing in the hospital. Has it in him to help other people who God brings to him to help through that process, but the healing in himself, that frozen that you keep saying that you became, I just felt that this was the beginning of the melting of that. Because till now, I'm not sure that you've shared any of that with anybody. I don't think. And you will ask, why did I ask you? It was because you gave us a little peek into it at the last Sholly talk. Benita, how are we doing on time? Where are we? We have 5 minutes more for this segment. Okay, I'm going to call on our next speaker just to come and sit down first. But I just don't know. I have questions, but I want to give it to you. You've heard 2 people speak now. Oh, and also, I'm so sorry. We're supposed to have refreshments at 12. And I calculated that by 12, not many people will be here. So what I ordered will be enough. You came late now. You know, Rich. So please, if you haven't gotten, just drink some water, and food will soon be here, and food will be here. Food will be here. I'm really sorry, but the best, you do what you can do. But, like I told you in the beginning, where it's like just pretend you're in my parlor and I tell you that the food in the kitchen has finished, but we're cooking some more. Thank you. I want to bring Inyolua Oduro, newly married, up. But I want us to, before I do that, I want to ask who has a question, 1 question per each speaker. Because we're still going to have, I pray, a time for FAQs at the end when all the speakers have spoken. That's my prayer. But now, is there anyone who has a question for either of our speakers? Yes, I see 1 hand up there. Please come forward. Second question. Going. Selling question, 10 naira, 10 naira, 5,000 naira. Going question. Second question. Question. Second question. Do I see I have a hand? Do I have a hand? Okay, we have just 1 question. Okay, please encourage her as she comes to ask a question. I will ask my own. So I'll be number 2. Thank you, Grace Anna. Thank you. So tell us who you are and tell us who your question is for and then ask it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chiazokam Vivian. This is the first time I'm here for your program. A friend invited me. Yeah. So my question is for Mr. Ike. Yeah. So it's very interesting listening to your story, and I know you left out a lot of details. But I'm just wondering, there are a lot of people that did not go through as much as you did, but they gave up at some point. There are some people also who have gone through worse and they still pull through. So my question is, do you think personally as an individual, your willpower, you individually, your willpower, did you play a very good role in your experience? Because like you said, you had a lot of, talk and, experience with the Christian, religion and all that. So I'm just wondering, your willpower as an individual, how did it play a role in overcoming these situations? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would say yes, to a large extent, but at the same time, I would say we are all equipped naturally to take on the things life throws at us. That's what I would say, though we take it differently. If you throw a stone at somebody here, the person will scream, "Yay!" Somebody else will throw a stone at the person and the person will take it and the person will not scream. Different animals have different adaptive futures. I am somebody personally that is very strong-willed, very, very strong-willed, that borders on stubbornness. I'm one of those people that took so much flogging as a kid. And one experience I had from the day I was born till today is people trying to break my will. So it got to a point where they made me see it as a problem. So I put aside my will. It was part of the things I am talking about when I say God puts the traits he put in you for a purpose. So I got to a point where I didn't have a will. So I was like a jellyfish, this person says go here, and I go. So yes, my willpower was part of it, but I don't want someone to say I don't have a willpower, so I can't do it, because you have something else. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ike. You say we have something else. I thought you were going to finish the sentence. What is the something else?
Yes, it depends on the person. There are some people that are quick to think. So when you're telling the person do this, the person has already analyzed it and knows it's not going to work. Some other person might not be that quick, and the person would need 5 days to take it in. So when you're asked to give an answer right now, insist I will give my answer in 5 days. That's what you have, and that's the way it will work for you. If somebody corners you it puts you in a corner where you have to give an answer right now, you're likely to give a wrong answer. That's the way it works.
Thank you. So I think that kind of, for me, as you were speaking, I was like, that's why the Bible says that God will not put anything on you bigger than you can deal with based on what he has given you. So it's not based on how that person dealt with it. It's based on what he has put in you, what coping mechanisms he has put in you. So seeing Lagbaja, do it a particular way and thinking, okay, I think that's the answer. No, it's about you going to figure out to God. That's the knowledge you're talking about. Go to God. So you pray, then you go on and ask, okay, God, what do I need to know to receive the answer to this prayer that I have prayed? So I really think one of the, you said because I'm marketing it because she's sitting down here. You need to read Articulate. It's okay. Those questions will help you to get to what he's talking about. If you can sit down and answer those questions by yourself, you'll be good. You'll be good. So if you didn't get it in your own pack, sorry, go and buy. I mean it. I really do. Even before we brought it here, we gave out to some in the Soul Talks family as well, because that was how I felt it was the book for each of us to read. But my question, and I want to ask it for myself and maybe for some other people, because as guys, we always think that you have boxes for your life, and you probably just, even though you're going through the motion of church and family man and all of that, that you put this whole thing in one box and that. But that's just the way I'm interpreting what you said about you froze. I want to understand what does that really mean, and where do you see that situation now? Where is this? What freezing point are you now? And what practical things are you going to try and do that maybe we can learn from, that is going to, if somebody else there is also frozen around something? Time up, but I want to hear the answer. Thank you. You're doing good.
If I understand your question, when I say I froze, I tried to describe it when I was speaking. I held back. I don't let people in. So I could stay here and we talk for 3 hours, and there's a wall between us. You can't cross it. Try as hard as you may. In church, every church or every congregation I belonged, I was really active and worked, and I remember when we were on campus, I was never a pastor on campus, but I was like, all my pastors from my year one, like 5 of them I met, they had me by their right hand like this. But there's a place you can't get through. So at this point, like I wrote to you after the last event. I didn't know what I was expecting when I was coming because I had never attended. But I went to support a sister, and I know I love reading your writings and stuff. But as we were going on, I could actually liken my experience to rape. In my head, that was how I likened it all the while, not just that day. Then when I heard the lady speak on her experience with rape, it came alive for me. Like a rape victim, a lady that has been through rape, especially repeatedly, the way she cuts off men, the way she will relate to you as a man, no matter your good intentions. From a distance, she's fighting you. If you say, your dress looks nice, it's like you have said the worst thing on earth. She will fight you for it, no matter your good intention. Buy her a gift, she will fight you for the gift. Buy her roses, she will fight you for the roses. That's the way I was, just that I wasn't fighting the fight. Just take a step closer to me, I cut you off. I was as evasive as what's this bird they see in churches, swallow. That's how evasive I was. If anybody's here, apart from maybe my family members that had known me, maybe I've gotten closer to you in the past 2 months than I've been to you in all the years we have known. That's the way. Nobody gets into my space. Even if you're there, you don't see me. So that's the frozen. But from then, I knew I had to open up. And because if I actually intend to help people, I have to let people in.
Thank you very much. You said exactly what I was hoping you would say, what I thought was in your heart anyway. And thank you for choosing Rising to be one of the places that you come and begin that opening up journey. And I know that by the grace of God, what God has started in your life, He's going to perfect it. In Jesus Christ's name. And likewise for all of us who are sitting here, who are on, for different reasons, we don't know. Everybody has their own story. This is part of my story. You are here a part of my story. This is me also trying to heal. These events are also a part of my healing journey. This was the knowledge to my question of how do I get over the grief. This was what the errand that God sent me to help myself, and I'm just blessed that it involves bringing other people into it as well. And like it says, it's a continuous thing. It's a continuous thing. Even standing here in front of you is me rising up. Is me rising up. Yeah. Yeah. It really is, So our next speaker, Inyoluwa Onduru, is going to share with us next. So I'd just like you to make her feel welcome. Let her just come and sit closer to me here. Please encourage her in many ways. Encourage her. encourage her. Graciana, I didn't put your music this time. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much, Inyi. I read, she's here because I read her book. And I was scandalized by the book. I wasn't myself. I had to send her a message. Anyway, people know me. When I read book, it's as I'm reading the book, I'll be telling you, yeah, you know. Well, depending on the content of the book, it will just be doing me somehow. I have to let you know that, come on, you know. And her book scandalized me. And I just think that, honestly, just looking at her there, that for me, this is like a classic picture of what God's love does when you let the love work in you. Really, but I'll leave you to tell your story. I want to, the mood is really heavy, so let's intersperse something before your story into that. So I want to celebrate all those are born in September, stand up, stand up. All those are born in September, stand up, stand up. A ringa roses, God bless you. All those are born in September, come forward, come forward. All those who are born in September, come forward, come forward. A ringa roses, God bless you. Oh yeah. Encourage them. Stand up. All those are born in September, stand up, stand up. A ringa roses, God bless you. September born. Shola, can we get them around the cake? Is it possible? September born. Oh yeah, now come and gather yourselves around the cake. Happy birthday. Yes. No, it's happy birthday, not a rise up. Happy Happy birthday. It's there in the playlist. Just normal. Is it not Stevie Wonder? See there, you see happy birthday. Oh, hey. Forgotten myself. Okay, who's there? Who's free? Doc, come. Oh yeah, come. We have little birthday presents for y'all. Yeah. Because it's Sholly's birthday, so just basically celebrating Sholly, and you assuming she was here, all of you will be around the cake with presents. Makes me feel better. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. Okay, let's sing happy birthday. We are saying we love you. God be with you till the end of time. And may he say, well done. Happy birthday. We are saying we love you. God be with you. Is that happy birthday? Where is the playlist? Is this on video? I don't know what's going on. It's happy birthday. Okay, okay, no, my bad. Sorry, I'm assuming she still has my phone. Okay. Yes, September born. Please join them. Okay, don't worry. We will sing with our mouth. Shala, don't worry. Just do your work. I'm trying to stress you. Let's sing with our mouth. What's another happy birthday song we can say? The number one. Hey? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Yes, happy birthday, ladies. Thank you for being co-celebrants with my sister. She lives on, that's for sure. Very lovely and very loudly. It's so funny that in the time since she's passed, like I took on her own noise on top of my own. I can be so extra. Me and my sister, we are the adepts. This my cousin here is a bit more like us, but our family, they're so quiet. So you see can you see them anywhere? You'll be seeing them in the corners. But we were the noisy ones. And Sholly was noisier than me, but I've taken on her noise. Okay. So Are we ready for your story? Yes, we are. Please help me make her feel welcome as she comes up to share with us Mrs. Iyoluwa Onduru. Clap, keep clapping, keep clapping. Praise the Lord, keep clapping, keep clapping.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is so good to be here. Thank you so much. Auntie Salt, you are such an inspiration. I keep saying it. Thank you. And I celebrate the life of, should I say Auntie Sholly now? You know, even now she's inspiring so many people. I think we should clap. Praise God. Okay, I came late. Good afternoon, sir. But I met, it's like I'm answering and uncling everybody today. Uncle Ike. So I met, and your story is so, praise God. I feel or I sense that the healing anointing is resting mightily upon you. You know, many people are out there and they need to hear this stuff. Like, mine was not physical healing like that, but emotionally, God healed me. But there are many people that are sick in their bodies that need to know that you can actually go through fire and come out. And I pray that, like they said, this is just the beginning. God will open doors and bring the people to you, more people that need to hear you and that need you to speak over their lives in Jesus' name. Okay. So my name is Onduru. I'm still trying to get used to that name. I got married in March. My husband is, I'm recording this, I'll show you. He's really amazing. I said my husband is so amazing. Yes, he is, yes. And he would have been here today, but he had to go to work. Yes. So my name is Onduru, and I am a testimony. A testimony is standing right in front of you. I have asked the Holy Spirit to give me utterance to help me speak the right words. And I think all through yesterday, I kept hearing, Psalm 147 verse 3. I think that is what it is. It says that he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Recently, something has been, all the issue now with depression and suicide, and in fact, it was actually getting to me. Not that it was affecting me. I was like, what's going on? And then I would hear people say, don't give me that, don't even give me that get closer to God, that gets closer to God crap. Don't give me that, And for a while, how do I put this? I actually felt like God helped me in my own journey. Like, I can't talk about my journey to healing and take God out of it. And now everybody is saying, many people are saying, like, acting like it's nothing. But I think I was talking to some people yesterday and I was like, no, I'm going to own it. God helped me. And there is still power in the name of Jesus. So, quickly, my story, I'm just going to keep it really short. A few years ago, is it still few? I've been saying few. 2013. Oh, it's not so, it's not like few. 6 years ago, yes, I was raped by a bike man on my way back from choir practice. And it was really bad because I'd grown up. I was born into the Christian home, godly parents, read your Bible, pray every day, you grew up listening to that. And I even joined the choir like five or six. And I'd had this relationship with God that was, I think it was beautiful. Of course, we all have our struggles and everything, especially when I became a teenager. That time I was liking one boy like that on my streets. And he liked me back. Oh. The only issue, okay, I'm not saying liking it. It's not like I'm calling Muslims bad people. No, it's not like that. But as a Christian, you should know that when you truly have a relationship with God, it doesn't matter if the boy is a Christian too, if he doesn't have a relationship with Jesus, then it's a no. And again, when it's not the right time, I was in secondary school, for crying out loud. And then, I had that. But I had a relationship with God already that was like, we used to gist about stuff. Like, he's telling you, no, this cannot happen. And I'm like, but God, do you want him to go to hell? Let's save him now, When he gets saved, we'll live happily ever after. Missionary dating. Okay, we didn't date, but emotionally. So, I had that relationship with God and all of that. Even in church, I used to sing everywhere. And then, there was even a time I became the teens president of the girls. But then this happened. I think 2012, yes, I got admission into the University of Benin. And about the same year, my parents moved from Yaba to Ikorodu. And so I didn't really stay in the Ikorodu house because I was in school. And then that ASU strike happened. How many of us remember the 6 months ASU strike? Yes. All of us, it was about to be exam period, so we were excited. At least at the beginning, we didn't just stay so long. So I think in July, yes, started in July, and then we left school, went home. My dad's 60th birthday was going to be that month, 21st of July. And so Friday 19th, I went for this rehearsal at Yaba because I was still tied to, I still had some responsibilities there. And again, when they knew I was around, there's this teens program coming up. We want you to minister. So I'm like, oh, daddy's birthday is that day. But they were like, we'll pay your tea fare, just come. And I had pastors that I was staying with when I had to. So that Friday, I left with my sister and my friend to Ikorodu. And there was a lot of traffic that day. It was really bad. Maybe I underestimated it. So I think we left about past 5 or 5:30 or so. And I didn't get to the junction of my house till about 10:30 to 11. And our house was inside, so we had to get something else. There was only one bike man who was willing to go. And you know what? He even suggested, I will take 2 people, drop them, and come back for the other person. My friend was like, no, I'm not leaving here because, I said we got there, so time had even gone more. I'm not leaving here. I said, oh, you came to help me. You go. I'll meet up. So I took them home. My dad even said, should I come? My dad wanted to come back with him. But he said, that he brought So he came back for me. And along the road, this guy just swept. And I'm like, where are we going? He said, the security men were harassing him. It had rained earlier that day, so the road was really muddy. And then, all of a sudden, he stopped. Okay, I could smell trouble. I got down and since we're going this way, I just, when you're just like lost, I just continue going. And he called out to me, I said, where are you going? Come and help me. Like, bring the... the light of your phone to help me look at my bike. So I went back, because I didn't know where I was going anyway. So I went back to him. I just took my phone. It acted like he was trying to, repair something on the bike. And from nowhere, this guy just pounced on me. And the fellowship I was going then in school, we used to talk about miracles, and so it was a perfect time for that to happen. So I didn't have sexual experience, so this guy just started putting mud in my mouth to stop me from screaming. Putting mud in my mouth, we started rolling in that. You hear story like when you're there, you try to kick at the guy's genitals or something. I did that. He pressed my breast. Oh, I should save it. I tried to bite. He beat me back. I had not given myself to anybody. So a bike man, I wasn't going to give up without a fight. So we kept rolling there. I kept saying something like, Moni Jesu, I have Jesus, I have Jesus. At a point, this guy covered my nose and my mouth to stop me from screaming. And maybe to make me weak, I don't know. But nobody came. The time I even tried to run, he pulled me back by my hair. And then he said I should open up or he would kill me. So, after a while, there was no air. I wasn't breathing. I became very weak. Like everywhere was just getting dark. And that was when he started tearing at my clothes and he raped me. When he got up, in fact, I can't describe the pain. Because he didn't even remove his hand from my... When he got up, he was even like, because I was not moving. The pressure of his hand on my neck, I wasn't moving. Okay, he went to bring my phone, which was somewhere. My dad had been calling. Talk to your daddy. Talk to your daddy. I don't know where strength came from, but I was able to say, Efinile, Eshamalo. So, this guy put my phone in his pocket, mounted his bike and drove off. And left me there. At that point, different thoughts raced through my mind. Like, I'm still alive. God, if you are real, you should have just taken me. What am I still doing here? Year of the HIV, pregnancy. What? Not even all that. Like, it felt like the end. But I think I remembered my parents. I'm the first daughter of my dad, and I said it was just about to be first child. It was supposed to be 60, the day after also. So I think I remembered them again. And after a while, I just crawled out of that place and started limping. I was covered in mud and blood, bleeding under. And then the thought that kept going through my mind, I called Jesus, he did not answer me. I called Jesus, he did not. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I called Jesus, he did not answer me. So I got to the first houses I could find. I knocked. They sent me away. I think they sent me away. Yes. The second one, a man actually came out and he saw me and he was like, and my tongue was like almost out of my mouth. I'm saying, please help me. I've just been raped. I need to call my parents. He sent me away. He sent me away. And I think I can understand. This is Lagos, you know. I look like somebody that could just drop dead. And again, middle of the night. Maybe it's a ghost or something. So I continued my walk. And then some security men. I didn't know they were security men, actually. 2 men coming towards me with cutlasses. I'm like, oh, these people are coming to finish it. But they called out to me, where are you going? And I'm like, they could see. My parents had already been looking everywhere for me, crying all around. So these security men joined them in the search. They were like, this is the girl. This is who they've messed her up, so and so. So they took me to the security post, and somebody covered me up, and they called my parents. My mom came. Was it my mom first? Oh, my dad. He came, looked at me, and turned. He said, this is not my child. My mom came and ran the other way and started rolling and crying out. Somebody had to tell her, what are you doing, madam? Go and hold your daughter, you know. And she came back and held me. I think that was the first form of comfort I received. You know, that in all of that mess, my mom just, and the only thing I could say was, I called Jesus, he did not answer me. And she said, no, she was crying, he answered you, that's why you're still here. He answered you. Thank you, Jesus, for answering me. Jesus answered me. It took a while, but I got to really understand that sometimes answers don't come in the way we want them to come. Thank you. I've never cried telling this story before. I've actually not cried. I think this is the first time. I don't know why I'm feeling so mushy today. But I think I just feel overwhelmed by the grace of God. Believe me, it's not because of that stuff. No. I just think God's love is so amazing. And even when I said what I said, you must have been looking at me like you don't know the half of it. You know, Jesus answered me. Funny, the guy was caught that night. He had gone home, taken a shower, and was preparing to sleep. So I don't know how, but they traced him and brought him there. And it was like, he doesn't know me. He has never seen me before. But they checked his body. I told them to check his body. They checked his body and they saw bite marks. They saw bruises because apparently we were running together now, so it wasn't just me. They found all the marks on his body and stuff. He kept denying that he had an accident. So he now mentioned his name, Amy, so. My friend was like, somebody called him by that name when he was carrying them. That's when I started saying he's the devil, you know, and all of that story. He was taken to the police station, and I was taken to the hospital. When the doctor saw me, he said, did they flog you with cane because of the marks on my body? You know, that was just physically, but I had to stay in the hospital for a while. There were these marks on my face, the marks of his hand. And I couldn't walk, not even eat. I was on admission. And in that time, I couldn't get over that fact that nothing happened. Jesus, I called out to you. But I thank God for the Holy Spirit. You know what the Bible says? It says, Jesus said, I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. Oh, I think one day God told me that we read the Bible like storybook. Like, do we really read the Bible like there was a Red Sea that had to be parted? Like these Israelites were in front of. Like sometimes maybe we should put ourselves in this. No, it's not fiction. Like these things were real happenings. So we should take the word of God, you know, like real, it's real. I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. So even in my my time at the hospital, it was like trying to fight God, trying to, no, nothing God. When I needed you most, I couldn't find you. The Holy Spirit was there, reaching out to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't turn it, I don't deserve it, still you gave yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. Never you won't get down, lying till down, coming after me. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. Never you won't get down, lying till down, coming after me. And all the overwhelm. And all it chases me, fights till it leaves the 99. I couldn't turn it, I don't deserve it, still you gave yourself away. Oh, the overwhelm, never-ending, reckless love of God. I was one of the people that used to wonder why reckless. But if you are in that kind of situation where you need a reckless love, then there are days I will literally feel his arms around me. And like I said earlier, I don't care if nobody believes, but it is my story, I'll own it. God was there. And then He led me to Isaiah 43 verse 2. When you pass through the waters, I'll be with you. And through the fire, you will not be burned. My eyes were open to see that. It didn't say if, it said when. I'm sure there is nobody in this room that has not had the time in their life when you're like, what's happening? I'm a child of God. This is not supposed to happen. But if we call God healer, great physician, how will we experience him as that if there is no sickness or no pain or no, When the oceans rise and thunders roll, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood, and I will be still and know you are God. I will be still and know you are God. When the oceans rise and thunders roll, Lord, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood, and I will be still and know you are God. still and know our God. I don't know where you are at now, but I want you to know that you have been preserved for a purpose. That is another line that's been on my heart since yesterday. Preserved for a purpose. That day I wished I died. I was like, what am I still doing here? But here I am today. I'm 24, I'm married. That's and it's not like, somebody say you ran into the marriage to hide or something. No. I got married because I wanted to, and I'm loving it. And that's what God can do. Last year I think I met a girl. She was raped too, somewhere. And she tried to take her life. So our mom's friend, she read my book, then gave it to her mom, then they just connected us. And this girl saw me and I was just going on and on. She was like, you don't look like what that book talked about. And I'm like, that's what God can do, and He can do the same for you. That is rising. That is it. I'm not going to stand here and say it was fun. The times in the hospital, I had to go to court sometimes. There was a day after I went to the police station, and some guys saw me. Apparently, the story had gone round. I didn't know. And they were like, girl, talk about degree, Lele. Like, that's the girl whose degree was taken. So in my mind, I'm like, so I don't have degree again. And when I had to go to General Hospital, and this doctor was like, they told him I was raped. Maybe they are so used to it. See? And it was like, raped. Were you a virgin? That's a doctor that should be, writing a report. Lie down, let me check you. And when he did, and he said, he saw the bruises and stuff, and was like, "Amen, no longer found." His face changed. And I just burst out tears. In fact, my mom even answered when he said that way. She said, yes, she is. She said, she is. Oh my God. That wasn't the end of it. Even though, yes, God showed me that when he passed, it was a journey. And like I always say, healing is a journey. But what matters most is who is walking that road with you. I want to ask you today, who is walking that road with you? I listened to Auntie Salt's Never Leave You Nor Forsake You. She made is it a podcast? I'm sorry. She said that we should take God's word for what it is. She said, I will never leave you. Never, never leave you nor forsake you. I found out that all the times in my life that I felt God was far, I moved. He didn't. Even in the times I messed up, He would even be the one to reach out to me. There was one, I didn't even want to, I felt so dirty, I didn't want to talk to God. But he was there. Who is walking that road with you? Jesus can walk that road with you, and He will not disappoint you. I can stand and boldly say that He gives beauty for ashes. I can stand and beat my chest. The oil of gladness instead of mourning. Father, I can stand and say that you are a healer. I can stand and say that you are a comforter. That the comforter is real. So who is walking that road with you? If God is doing so, He will also place people in your life, a strong support system. I had that in the person of Dr. Onuzo. Somebody might know him. Dr. Onuzo, yes. I lived with him for a long time after that. And his wife, she counseled me. Dr. Onuzo and his wife, their wages, my parents, countless other people. He put there in my life. There were days I had dizzy spells, like for no reason at all. I was just panic attacks. I'm walking, and I just feel like somebody might be coming behind me to pounce on me. But Jesus walked that road with me. And then I've mentioned God, number one, strong support system. And then you need to find a way to release. In fact, Dr. Onuzo told me that, I was having the dizzy spells, and so I had to be taken to his hospital. And they checked my blood pressure, and it was like, this thing is too high for your age. He said, what are you doing? I said, well, the strike is still on. He said, from tomorrow you start working here. It's like you don't have work, I mean, you're just thinking and thinking. They said, from tomorrow start work here. And then he said to me, he said, man was not meant to carry all of this stress. Like there has to be some form of transfer. There has to be some form of transfer. It comes and imagine just receiving all the pressure. There's pressure in this Lagos especially. I will not lie. So much pressure out there. But you're supposed to be maybe like a tunnel. I don't know how to explain it. But don't just, you have to find a form of release. Then he told me something. Don't waste your pain. It's too precious. Instead, turn it to gold. Don't waste your pain. It's too precious. Like it has already happened. But what are you going to do with it? It's too precious. Instead, turn it to gold. Oh my God, that word. 6 years now, right? It has stayed. This is gold. Journey to healing. And like I said, there has to be some form of release. For me, singing, music, you have to find your own. What is yours? Music did it for me. The right kind of music though. Not the one that will now add sorrow to your sorrows. And journaling did it for me too. I don't know if anybody has experienced that thing. Like you're feeling so weighed down and burdened, and you pick up a book and you write. Like I start by writing out how I'm feeling like. And God has actually told me, he said, he'll show me my letters. Isn't that beautiful? Someday. So I actually see them, and I'm keeping them. So I'll start like, oh, dear God, I feel so stupid right now. And he said something, he said, you can ask God questions. I will add to it. You can be honest with God. I feel so stupid right now. I feel so weak right now. And I will start going, I'll pour everything out. But you know that I will end it with, it's like God answering me back. I will end it with a Bible verse or something. I think that thing is underemphasized. What do they call it? Is underemphasized or underestimated. Thank you very much. It's underestimated. Because I think that is just God meeting our needs, ministering to us. So you should try journaling too. Find your release. Find your release. That is it. So, lastly, I think it's 1 Corinthians There's a part of 1 Corinthians that says, "Blessed be the God of all comfort, who comforts us in our..." Yes. 2 Corinthians 1:4. "Blessed be the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our weakness," or something like that, so that we might be able to comfort others. I think it was The Lady I Love and I Lord by T.D. Jakes I read, where he said something about the sick bed. Like, you have been staying on that sick bed for too long. If you actually lift your eyes, you see that there are people that need that sick bed more than you. And in getting up and ministering to them, your healing will be complete. And he said something, said, "Broken crayons still color. You don't have to be whole to shine." That was what happened to me in school, I jumped a lot of things. Or in the hospital, I had to be transferred to another hospital. One day somebody came and she was like, "You are looking so down. Why don't you worship God? Fill this room with worship. Don't let this..." And as she left, I started singing. That was what I did. Like, I pulled out my pain. I pulled out everything. Some days later, I came downstairs for the first time, trying to exercise, and 2 guys saw me. My mom was like, "This must be the girl that's been singing in that room." And they stopped me and they were like, one of them said, "I actually couldn't move. Like, that day you were singing, I was strengthened." And I'm like, okay. Me, I was actually pouring out my own pain. Somebody was receiving healing somewhere. God has given me a word I'm still working on. Rise to your calling. I'm telling everybody in this room today, rise to your calling. Your calling is tied to that mess in your life and that pain. Look at Auntie Salt. I think you're just an amazing testimony. The Bible says, they said, if the devil had known what the death of Jesus would do, they would not have crucified him. That today, So if the devil had known that taking her away would, do all this. But I want you to know that God causes all things. I thank God he didn't say some things, some situations in your life, or only the bad, or only the good. He said, all things work together for the good of them that love God and are called according to his purpose. What shall separate us from the love of Christ? I remember the next time I ministered after all that, it was from a depth. It wasn't like, just go and take microphone. I'm singing in front of the church. I stood and I said, what shall separate us from the love of Christ? It was different that day. The atmosphere was different. Like, the devil was so mad. I got off the stage and one glass top just fell on me. I said, oh, okay. But I think God just let that happen to see that you are not playing there. What shall separate us from the love of Christ? I believe God wants to bring us to that point where we are so in tune with the Father. We are one with God. We are just that nothing makes us, break down or fear. Like, God is with me. No matter what it is. God is with me. God is with me. So that is my story, y'all. Jesus said, he said, write a book. He said, write a book. And I'm like, Tell the whole world that a bad man raped me, And you know what he told me? He said, you are not a victim. You're a testimony. And I think that was enough, And he provided, though. I said, okay. He said, I just need your yes. I said, okay. Somebody heard the story and said, you need to write a book. I said, we are trying to. And that was how this book came to be. So much has happened. I don't have the time to say how somebody still tried to feed off my pain. But in everything, we are more than conquerors. I'm standing today. Now I'm standing here. Only because you made a way. You made a way. When my back was against the wall and I looked to see if it was over, you made a way. I am standing here only because you made a way. You made a way. When my back was against the wall and I looked to see if it was over, Lord, you made a way. We are standing here only because you made a way. Thank you, Jesus.
So sharp though. I was hoping for a fade out. Rising is about release. That's what she said. You have to find a release. This was my release. But for me, it was like an errand to find the release. But it was to provide a space where people can come and release. And I feed off feeling you releasing helps me realize that it's true that you can bring purpose out of pain. Purpose out of pain. You, like all these people here, you know when you know the Jim of the stories, you feel the way you feel just because they've told you it's and bits here. Maybe Ike and Nick will write a book one day. But in Yoluwa, she's written a book. So if you really want to know what she's talking about and to really appreciate what you're seeing there, then you maybe want to get her book. I told you I read the book, I was scandalized. On her behalf, on behalf of men, on behalf of church, I was just like, what? But there she is, a testimony. Please, can we appreciate Jesus Christ? Can we appreciate Jesus Christ? She's gotten over that to the point of marrying. She's loving it. Not married so they won't know my shameful story, but gotten to the point of healing to be happily married. And I wish her hubby were here. We would just all group hug him as well. He's really special. I'm so happy to see Iwisi Jacobs in the room. I know she will look back. Iwisi, I tell you, I went on Google yesterday to figure out how to pronounce your name. Guess what I watched all night? Kingdom Culture, your videos from 2015. I watched part 1 to 5. And in part 1, you introduce yourself, Iwisi Jacobs. I was like, ka-ching. I won't come up here and disgrace myself and be saying, Igiwi Isi. So I'm very grateful to see you there. Very shortly, I will call you up to come closer to me. But I think the mood is really heavy. Guys, you know I said in the beginning, those who were here in the meeting, yes, 11 o'clock was hard stop. Closing at 4 o'clock hard stop is African time. So just be patient. Don't go now. Aren't you feeling the environment? Don't you want to stay to the end? Time up for me already. But thank you for you're doing a great job, Benita. But I want to lighten the bit before I bring you up. You will see to come and share with us. Thank you. I was praying I was like, these ladies, they can sing. Jesus, please, would they sing when they're sharing? Please let them sing. No pressure. But thank you for singing, because that's your gifting. So just before we call you on, I have, what do I have? We've done birthday, right? Okay. I have some special awards here. I hope you're not more than 5. I don't think you're up to 5. But I'd like, if you have been to every single rising, 1, 2, 3. When life goes down, we rise up, sinking in grief yet rising in purpose, and you're here today. Come forward. I'd like to give you a special recognition for standing with me through these 3 years. All 3 risings, if you've been here, all 3 risings. Yes, anybody. If you are more than 5, we'll look for you later. All 3 risings. Arrange yourselves in that order. All 3 risings. If you have been to all 3 risings and you're a Sholly rainmaker, you know that if you have more than what I have here. No, you're not sure. If you're not sure, then it can't be true. Because if you came, you will know you came. Eh? No, not Sholly Talk. Rising, the September ones, the ones we do as part of Sholly's celebration. The one, Graciana, no, it's okay. I'm talking about it. Rise up. I don't need the music. Thank you. Sholly's birthday is September 25th. Every Saturday after that, we always have a rising event because every birthday is a struggle. This year's birthday particularly was very difficult for me. I don't know why, but I guess it's part of what I kind of touched on, and you just go through these cycles. And all, but it was a thing I was going through, and that's kind of like why I did the hair. That's why I don't know if those who follow me on. Sorry, you're gonna stand a bit. Let me just share this story. It was very uncanny. So I was going through a moment, and I was thinking about my sister, and I was thinking about my mom, and all of that. And I was like, I've gotten to this place where I'm like, life is too short, Joe. Last month I went blonde, so I was thinking, what hair am I going to do now? No. And I was like, I've never in my life had this kind of hairstyle on my head. Never. As in never. And I was like, I was going to do this. And I sent it to my daughter because that's what we do. I'm like, hey now, Opie, how far? She was like, Mommy, please do. So I sent her this and then my normal middle part. And she was, Mommy, please, classic Mommy, please. Classic Mommy. And I said, because you even said classic Mommy, we're going to go this way. And you know what was uncanny? I think it's all, Inyolua talked about it as well. God was walking with us step by step. My auntie that I've not spoken to, maybe I spoke to her about 3.5 weeks ago, out of the blues, she sends me a photo of my mom. She was cleaning up or something, and she sent me a photo of my mom, and guess what hairstyle my mom had on? This same hairstyle. I wish I just wasn't, I was going to put it there. So it was like she was saying, girl, I got you. You go with this Afro curly thing, and let's just rock this life together. But on the other hand, it was also to show me that God really hears the prayers of our heart, because I've been using the same old photo of my mom over the years. She died in 1986. Every birthday, I've been using that same old photo that you're going to see there. Faded. Before she even got married. And I had been crying to God that this is why I take plenty of pictures, because my children must not look for a picture of me. They must not. Anywhere they turn, they got plenty. Selfie, usfie, any fee. They will find pictures of me. I mean it. So then I now have this, is the clearest picture of my mom that I have. I wish I could beam it. It's the clearest picture. I could see her. That other picture, I couldn't see her features, nothing. I just knew this is my mom. She was a chick. But now I know she was a chick. I can see it. and all, and it just reminds me of Sholly. So I just tell you that in ways that God knows are unique to us, he will keep on talking to us and reassuring us that he's there, using anybody that he has to. In this case, he used my dead mother. So what can he not do for you, wherever it is that you are? Now, share that story. Let's go. So there, if you are a Sholly Rainmaker and you're here, I love you with all of my heart, but go back. I will see you later. Okay, so we have 6. You are in between. So go. I will see you later because I only have 5. But I really want to appreciate you, all of you Sholly Rainmakers, as well as you who are standing here, for being with me. So I'd like to call on somebody. Who do I call now? Who am I going to use? Cause Divine, come and help me present these gifts. Kemi, thank you. Since you are standing already. Please let me present these tokens of appreciation to these 5 women here who have been to all of Sholly's Risings, encouraging me, because when I was hearing the errands, I really thought I was going local. I was like, who's going to come and talk about grief? We don't do that in our culture. And come and say that you have been crying, or that you are pain, No, everybody's like, it is well. It is well. It is well. You know? I remember Coach Olushola, he was one of the first coaches for the first Rising. He literally called me crazy. He said, but in a good way, because it's not done. Some of you were in the room that day, said, this woman, she's crazy, yo. You know? Said she's crazy, because I've never seen this kind of thing before. But funny enough, I find it really encouraging that now I see many meetings talking about grief and grieving and all of that. I didn't used to see that before. So we're changing, which is good. Same thing about the whole rape thing. We need to speak out about rape. The same way, speak out about grief. Now, Kemi, please help me give these ladies these presents. Thank you. Thank you. Keep clapping. Celebrate them. Celebrate them. Thank you. Thank you. Keep clapping. You people are very stingy with your clapping. Thank you very much. And as we take those gifts, there's a young lady who made them. She's called on Instagram Ashowumi. She actually was supposed to make more, but then she fell ill. We're going to have more, so please send her your prayers, your love and light. So Ashowumi, Lamilekon, if you're watching, we're thinking of you. I know you're going to do the rest, but it's fine. So ladies, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Bless you. Please encourage them as they go back to their seats. Benita, what time is it, please? Sorry? 3:03. Okay, so we're not too bad. No, not too bad. Okay, please, ladies and gentlemen, my last speaker is here. Please, can you just encourage her? Make her feel welcome as she comes closer to me here. You're welcome. I just want to gist a little bit about her before she comes to share. You know how I say, I'm sure you think that I'm kidding when I say that when God tells me who, and I go and ask, I'm always going with, they'll be like, who is this one? You know, of all the cases here, this was the one that was the most like that. Because I only met her thanks to Oma. Oma, this is due to you. Where are you? Oma, remember Iwisi at the thing she had in VI? That was where I met her for the first time, even though we do go to the same church, but she's like on the pastor's side, and I'm on the brethren side. So I just see this fine lady in her nice, I'm like, oh, nice. And then I go to this event Oma organized, and then she's there. And I got a lovely photo, which I still treasure to today, from that. And all, yeah, so but when I sent her the message, I was almost stunned by the alacrity of the answer. I'm not sure it took you 5 minutes. And then when I now told her what, I gave her no, that is more reason. So thank you for that. Thank you. Please help me thank her for that. Because sometimes you just don't know. But you know, I'm grateful to God because every time, like even the coach Olushola and Leila St. Matthew Daniel, imagine you just say to them, they don't even know who you are. You know, I ask them, please, I'm doing something, please, can you come and coach? You know, in Instagram, not even a phone call, just message. And they responded, and I was like, wow. Then I knew that clearly it's not about me. It's about my Papa God and what he wants to do through this. So yesterday night, from 2 something, I wasn't anxious. I just couldn't sleep. I was switched on completely. So I wasn't out, hey, okay, if I'm going to invite her up, how will I pronounce this name now? Okay. I said, okay, let's. So I was typing the name, say, pronunciation. And nothing came up. And I said, okay, video. So I was like, oh, I didn't even know you had an album. I didn't know that. I just thought you sang and all of that. She has an album. She had an album out in 2015. And there was this whole series of YouTube videos, Kingdom Culture. Go check it out. She spoke some. Thank you. In one of part 2, you had light and salt. I was like, yes! She had a poster that this is what we should be. We should be salt and light. And I was like, Kiching. She's talking about me. I'm talking about all of us here because we're all called to be salt. I just like to use it on my head. We are all salt. We are all light. But I just wanted you call me that to remind me on a daily basis. It's a reminder, it's a prophecy, it's a declaration. It's a by fire, I'll kill you, devil, and salt. I don't care what you say. I don't know what anybody tells me. I know what God has called me. He has called me to be salt. And that's why she's here. And I practiced your name well. Did I get it? I got it now. Iwisi. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I would never have known because it's longer than you say it. But I'm really grateful for that. So I just want to ask you, this is our final speaker. After this, we're going to take a picture. Please don't go. She's going to speak, share, then we're going to do a few minutes Q&A. It's 3:03. We will finish by 4. Pata pata. Talk. Take a few questions, whoever is here. Take pictures. Food packs given. We're going home. But please, you've been here all day. This is the final, we're about to see the peak of the mountain now. Let's get there and get all that God has for us from these speakers. I have gotten so much, even in my this and that and that. I know what I've got. It's confirmation upon confirmation upon confirmation for me. That no, I'm not going crazy. No. Yes, I may suffer. Yes, I may cry. I still cry yesterday. I still cry today. It's okay. Well, I'll keep on rising up to my higher. So please help me make Iwisi Jacobs feel very welcome as she comes to share from her heart with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Take all of the glory. Take all of the honor. Take all of the glory. Take all of the honor. Take all of the glory. Take all of the honor. You deserve all the glory. You deserve all the honor. You deserve all the glory. You deserve all the honor. My name is Iwisi Jacobs. I was Miss Emokbai, so I'm Bini. I'd like you to stay there, please. Please, please, please. Just alert, I'm going to cry. I already started crying when she was talking. And I was like, it's today that I went and wore mascara up, down. It's today. When I'm coming for administration, I just remove mascara. There's no point. God has messed me up too many times. And it's just, you now come out, you now have raccoon eyes, you be taking pictures, people, I'm like, and they won't tell you, like, no, you're beautiful, like, yeah. So today I'm like, we're just encouraging each other. I can go wild. And then she was talking, I was like, oh God, this house just, Father, please, not now, Jesus, I've served you long. Please, keep these tears away, but it's impossible. You cannot collide with my Jesus and not feel something. It's impossible, unless it's not my Jesus. It's counterfeit. If you don't live there different, it is not Jesus. And when you hear him, you know it's him. You cannot mimic Jesus. You can't. And I heard Jesus when you were talking. It was Jesus when you were talking. And it's not a sub story, it's just a grace story. It's a grace story. and you look at living proof, working proof, that he's exactly who he says he is. Exactly. I say to Jesus, I say, you live up to the hype and you exceed it. Every name that we have coined, every name you have called yourself, you live up to it and you exceed it. That's my Jesus. So when I dance for my Jesus, I dance like nobody's there. When I sing to him, I sing like nobody. Doesn't care how the voice comes out. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because it's for my Jesus. It is for Jesus. And that's the name of my first album. It's for Jesus. And I did it for Jesus because I am living proof of the love of God. That's who I am. I wear it in the morning when I'm putting on makeup. That's what I'm putting on my body. The knowledge that I am loved. When I dress up, it is the knowledge that I am loved. You know why? This world is designed to challenge that knowledge. Everything that comes your way is designed to question the love of God. Always. We're at war, people. This is not, we're not here to play. No child of God is on earth to play. We are at war. And once in a while, there are casualties of war. And it's designed to make you question if you are really loved. And Paul speaks to us from millennia ago. He says these words. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate me from the love of my Lord and Savior, my lover, my enabler and sustainer, Jesus the Christ. Nothing. Where was Paul writing that from? A hotel room? A flat? His wife's bedside? While eating pounded yam? Paul was in prison. And not just any prison, the prison they kept for Christians. They were despised. Treated like, they were worse than animals. They were put in prisons below prisons. Down at the bottom. And the prisons above them didn't have solid ground. So people defecated through those. I want to give you a mental picture of Christians who were sent to become torches and food for lions. And they were there with their children. And these people facing certain and imminent death. That's where Paul is writing from. That's why he will say, neither peril nor sword, nor height nor depth. This is a man who has experienced heights and depths, who has experienced peril and sword. So he qualifies to make this statement. When you go through these things, you are going through a qualification process. When you say you are loved by God, when you tell me to not forget how deeply I am loved, you are qualified to say it to me. I look at your life and say, if she can say it, Jesus must love me. He must love me. So all those things qualified Paul to say, nothing is able to separate me from the love of my Jesus Christ. But it's a knowledge, it's a knowing. You have to know it. It is nothing if you don't know it. It's a waste. If my Jesus died such a terrible, lonely, disgraceful death, shameful, the worst kind of death, and I walk around today dejected, unloved, depressed, suicidal, after somebody gave his life to give me a chance, I owe it to my Jesus. I owe it to him to rise. I owe it to Jesus not to stay down. I'm not saying he won't follow. I'm not saying he won't come. I'm not saying life would knock you down, but I owe it to my Jesus to stand up. Because he stood up too. He was knocked down several times. Sheer hunger, lack of water. He had been incarcerated for days, beaten beyond recognition. Physically, he shouldn't even have been alive carrying that cross. Even before he got to the cross, he should have died before then. Jesus gathered all the grace of the Holy Spirit and kept himself alive and would not stop one step short of Calvary's trees. For me, I was on his mind. I was on his mind because he knew a day would come when I would need him on that cross. I would need that blood. And he saw that day and would not step one step short. Not one step short. When I praise God, people, you'll be looking at me. I thought your before be looking at me. It's even good. Because I know. I don't know everything, but I know a little bit of what he did for me. And so I will praise him. And so why am I here? Not just to talk about the Lord, even though I can talk about that forever, but I'm going to tell you, I wasn't always this graphic about God's love, this sure about it. 18 years ago, this same September is a difficult month for me too. My mother, so I'm from a polygamous family, but my mother is one out of 3 people who had children from my father. My father died when I was 1. So I didn't know him. I didn't have virtually no memory of him. That is a whole other story. It set a path for wanting a father and not understanding the meaning of father. So when I raised up my hand, that thing that people take for granted, they say, Father! I didn't know what that meant. And I stood judge, and I stand teacher, but father was a vacuum in my mind. But that's another story. I'll talk about my mother. So my mother became both father and mother to us 4. She has 4 children. And the 3rd of them, I looked the most like her. And I don't think she was hardest on me, but I felt she was hardest on me. I'm sure if my siblings were here, they will have a competition as to who was. My mother was what they call a ninja. She was a Bini woman. A ninja. You could not be doing something wrong. It's like the Holy Spirit just wake her up. What are you doing? You are sleeping. It's like you don't know that what you were put on earth to do. And she just come. Yes. What was that? I'm like, Mommy, nothing. I'm just, that's my mother. A flying ninja. And she did not take prisoners. She will beat you anywhere. It's not a matter of, look, she said, I brought you into this world. Don't worry. I'm your mother. You can't take me to prison. Beat you there. So your other baby you're trying to do, mess up. Just be watching. Your friends, just know that your friends are not there again. That time they'll come tomorrow and like, hi. I'm like, hi, how? Where were you when they were? That literally happened for my younger sister. My mom saw her. She had done something because I was always in trouble. I don't know how. Like, I was the self-preserving one. I used to get in trouble, but she was like, oh my. I'm like, I'm just a yap. I'm like, Imadi, don't you even? But anyway, she had thick skin. I was the sensitive one. If a fly flies the wrong way, I would cry. My younger sister, no, she took pleasure in watching me. She'd be like, I'm going to cry. So all those films that make people cry, she just come and sit in front of me and she won't watch the film, but just looking at me like this. I hated it, but I couldn't help. That's just me. So anyway, that's my mother. So this day, she had gone to do something stupid. She was with 2 of her friends. So she saw my mother from afar, which we had grown used to doing that. You could smell her, you could hear her, you knew her from afar because just to make sure that you weren't in trouble. She saw her, she was trying to hide. She mistakenly brushed a car that had an alarm. So the car passed, my mother saw her. She had gone in, she went to swim. She didn't remove her clothes. She didn't wear swim, so she swam in her clothes and came out dripping. Something sparked in my mother's head. Like you could see the smoke, it just blew, the fuse blew. I think her friends saw the look. Imani said that till today she does not know. She doesn't know when they left her side. But what she knows is that when they were pounding her on the streets of Lagos, those 2 friends were not there anymore. The next time I saw them was the following morning in school. So that's my mother for you. She will sit on you. It's not a problem. Look, don't worry. I fed you. You will survive this beating. Don't worry. So that's my mother. So I grew up with a healthy fear of her, but a deep love for her. There was nobody I loved more than my mother. In fact, the way I used to gauge my love for God was, I love you up until anything happens to my mother. That's the point I can't really see past. No, I can't really. I could imagine everybody else. If the person died, I can imagine, okay, I will cry for years or months, but there's a way for my mother was my last. There was nothing after her, nothing. So when I was 15, she had a stroke. It was her 50th, 49th into her 50th, she had a stroke, and was paralyzed on the right side. So she began to slur, and she was a very active woman, of course, a woman who raised her children from, you can imagine, she was a man and a woman. In fact, she was more a man than a woman. Never met a woman like my mother. And I kind of hope I don't. Again, I think one in a lifetime is more than enough. She was a legend. People knew of her around. If you didn't move them, she would beat you with the children. So that has to just clear. I don't blame those girls for running away. So anyway, she had this stroke, and it changed her life, obviously, because this is a woman who is used to being physical with her children, being physical with being there for them. You couldn't sneeze. When I was in boarding house, you couldn't sneeze and she won't be in school. What's wrong? What? Tell me, let me just know how we do it myself. What's wrong with you? I'm like, Mom, I'm okay. I'm not sick. She could spot from afar, just by looking at your eye. I thought it was it's like, did they go to school to learn that? How do you know that I'm ill just by looking at me? And nobody else would know, but she knew. Until I became a mother. When I had my children, I'm like, okay, that's it. Okay. Anyway, so she had this stroke at 15. When I was 15, I remember coming back to see her for the fight. I was crushed. They had tried to brief me and my sister, when you get there, she can't really talk. Just try not to express your shock. Just be. So I'm like, nobody can brief you enough. There's nothing they can say. When I got in, I remember walking up to that room and hearing someone making it sound like, she was singing along to something. I was like, okay, she's humming. When I got there, I realized that that's the sound she was making. She couldn't talk. The sound that came out of her mouth was as if her mouth was closed. I had to summon strength. I hugged her, and then we came out and we wept. And my auntie held, and we wept and we cried. But then, what could we do? We had to get, so 3 years taking care of her, She began to learn physiotherapy. She hated it because it was very painful. She cut her hair. It was too painful. She had things hurting. I don't know. She kept saying, my head, my head. So we cut the whole hair off, And so she kept saying, don't worry. She always say that thing. She said, I will live till I'm 120. Don't worry. I'm here. We're here. And so one day, I'm in school. I've just come back from a trip. But by now I'm in university. My first year in university. I'm 18 at this time. My younger sister is 17. The rest are in different places. I remember my friend was seeing me off to my room. I'll never forget that day. He said to me, the flag will fly at half-mast today. I looked at him. I said, why do you say that? He said, I don't know. And till today, he doesn't remember saying that thing. But I remember him saying it. But I just thought it as something. Went into my room. I was happy to see my roommates. Everybody was laughing. And then my brother comes, which is not strange. He comes to see me, He's wearing sunshades. I don't realize this until later on that I never see his eyes throughout. He's wearing sunshades from the minute he comes till he doesn't remove the sunshades. So I'm like, maybe just playing guy, Some girls liked him in the room. So I'm like, hey, bro, what's up? And he's like, yeah. So, I think we should, let's go home that, sis is doing something, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, all right, okay, good, let me change. So I'm changing. My friends are like, how it is when you're going home. See, when you're coming, bring cold water, bring the, So I was like, don't worry, I'll see you guys later. So I get into the car. First surprise, it's not sis who comes to pick us. It's some long distance cousin. All cousins that you don't see in like 20 years. I'm like, okay, hi. But I'm like, so we get into the car. I noticed that they smile anyway, their smile is not the one. I will tell you the smile that made me, that I will never forget that smile. That look, not a smile, till today. Anyway, so we got home, and I ran as usual to the door. Like my mom always answered the door. It was her way of just being in charge. I don't want you to, I just want to know that in case it's one of those guys that are coming to greet us in the house. So when you knock, she's like, yes, I'm here. Yes, what are you looking for? So she was always at the door, always. So first surprise was, it wasn't mommy who opened the door. I'm like, so, and it was another strange, distant person. So I'm like, and I look and I see the whole parlor. People are sitting down there. People who would never be there. I know my mother. She was also a ninja with avoiding people. She see you from afar. She see the person. She say, "If she want, I'm not home." And then if you not, then she can change her mind midway, as you are telling them, sorry, sir, my mom is not home. Just see her. Sorry, I'm here. She didn't really know. And push you aside. And she did that more than once to me. I'm like, I got used to it. There's no problem. You know, I'm sure they all knew her. All her friends knew her with that. So to see them, I'm like, this is not right. Then I remember one girl, she looked at me and she shook her head slowly. And I remember thinking, and all this while I was emotional, they didn't let me stop. My brother just kept moving. I noticed that my brother moved me in. And people just moving, walking with me. I'm like, why are they? So I'm like, hi, yes, ma. And I go in and I look at where she always is. If she didn't come to that door, okay. But she must be there. And she was not there. And I moved to go to that room, and they turned me immediately to the other room opposite us, which is our room. And I see my sister, who is meant to be having the party, with scarf on her head. Her eyes are funny. And I'm like, what? Why are you here? Then I turn and see my brother has removed his glasses. His eyes. I just stopped. I said, where's mommy? Where's mommy? He said, mommy is gone. I said, gone where? He said, she's... Now, it was later I understood why there were many that were following. They had warned them that, you see, this one, you best be around her when you tell her. You best be ready to hold her when you tell. They must have heard me. Our house was in Ikoyi. They must have heard me in 3 streets across. I would have mowed down a wall. You couldn't block me from her room. I wanted to go and see for myself. And I got there, and her mattress had been turned up. I tell you, 18 years can never, no amount of years can take away that feeling. It doesn't. You remember it. And so I turned to my brother, and he held me. He said, I won't let you fall. And we cried. And so I went from there. My first time ever in a mortuary, I remember. I went and I saw her, and I looked at her. And it dawned on me. Life is not in the body. You see that thing that is in contention, that soul that we're all, that is where life is. And her hair, she loved to dye her hair. Her hair had been dyed. She had just recently, freshly dyed it. It was a dyer of hair. Today is red, tomorrow is purple. Another one is burgundy. We didn't even know the real color, what's mommy's real hair. So I just freshly dyed this hair, and I just looked at her on the mortician's table with that freshly dyed hair. And so we faced the task of burying her. And I remember burying my mother. I was the last to leave her side, the grave side. I remember. Anyway, what God gave me. No, it's okay. This will pass. There's no way I can talk about this with. At least I told you I will cry. But what God gave me during that time, I'm going somewhere with this. There's a reason that we have to explore the pain. Thank you. It's important to explore the pain. It's because, like she said, pain changes you. And it can either change you for the worse or for the better. And God is the person, He's the surgeon of pain. He takes pain and uses it to weave stories that without that pain, you would never have been able to weave. But in whose hands, who do you give your pain to? And so, in that period, people will come like Sister Salt said earlier on, and they say, you know how Christians speak, it is well. And I remember thinking, what is well? No. I'm not being rude. I just want to understand. What is well about this situation right now? What is well about orphans? What is well? What's the plan for my future? What's the plan for this? Forget about future. What about this Christmas? What happens this Christmas? Where do we go? So, in the midst of all of that, God said 2 words to me. And I'm saying this because I believe that God gives comfort specifically. It's like custom made. Per situation, per person. If you are looking hard enough, you receive comfort custom from God. He said to me 2 words. He said, keep breathing. Keep breathing. And important for me in particular. Those same words would mean nothing to my brother, who is the same situation, lost his mother. Mean nothing to my sister. But for me, I wanted to die. If it was possible to will yourself to death, I won't be here today. I wanted to follow her. That's when I realized that however close you are to a person, however we are individuals, even if we die together, the journey after that is separate. We stand before God separate. There's nothing that can be done. And so began a deeper walk with God. It was either sink or swim. And it's not shallow end they threw me into. It's deep end. So we will now know whether her legacy, all that had been drumming in our ears, speaking in tongues. You know how mothers are. Get up. Pray, 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 pray. My African mothers, you'll be like, Mommy, I'm praying. No, stand up. Hop. You were sleeping. I saw you jumping. Take a lap around the room. It is well. Just be going. And you're like, why? Why, Mommy? Why? When we know you don't sleep, you pray. So why are you making me pray? She didn't know. Her legacy. I am a result. If she gave me nothing in this world, she gave me Jesus Christ. That's why I'm here. It was what got me through her death. And God said, don't think too far. Just breathe. Go from breath to breath to breath. And one breath has become 18 years. And I'm here breathing. Because of the deep comfort of God. So, today's scripture. Over time, I'm asking God. So, we're now here. This is the one question I used to say to myself. If this happens, I'm not sure I can still serve you. But here we are now. It has happened. So what now? And God begins to teach me about his love. So I'm going to tell you one of the things. The most profound thing. This whole gospel, this whole Jesus. Crucifixion was a mode of torture invented by the Persians, not the Romans. The Persians were the ones, they were particularly crafty. I don't want to, because yes, but the word is, that's the word. They were something. And so they devised it, but the Romans perfected it. They found a way to make it last long. So that the person didn't just die. The person was was humiliated. The person became an example. That's what they wanted, an example. So, Jesus was subjected to that kind of death. They say that the pain of the cross was such that it was so much that there was no word to use to describe it. So if I did this, I would say to you, it feels like when something hits you without knowing. So you know what that pain feels. Even without feeling it, you know it. But the cross, there was no way to describe it. So they called it, that kind of pain, excruciating. Excruciate. The pain like as of the pain of the cross. Before they nailed him to the cross, they whipped him. There's an instrument of torture called the flagellum. And so they put nails, they put sharp objects, and the effect of it is when it lands on skin, it rips of skin. So it's not enough that it causes trauma, just the way maybe your parents used to beat you with a cane. That's not enough. Skin must come off, right? One of those lashes, is enough to cripple a person. It's not. We're not saying you are a weak person for falling down from just one of those. The Bible tells us Jesus took 39 on his back. Which means, by the time they were done with Jesus, there was nothing left on that back. There was no skin. You would have been looking at him and looking at pure muscle and bone. There was no skin. Such that the very air that was blowing on his back would have been torturous to him. And this man wasn't just flogging Jesus. Oh, let's keep it to his back. There was everywhere that thing fell. It ripped off skin. So when the Bible says that he was unrecognizable, they're not just saying that. That's really, if you didn't see him go in and watch him, that is the sense, when he came out, you would never have believed he's the same person. Because there was skin. So Hollywood cannot show us what Jesus really went through. This is before getting to the cross, which is why I said earlier on, it was a miracle that he was still alive to even carry that cross up that hill. And so the cross itself, there's controversy. Did they nail him? Did they tie him? Doesn't matter. He was on the cross. And when they lifted him up, this is where science kicks in. You see that position? First of all, they did all of that naked. That whole thing, you see, the loincloth is because of decency. They stripped them naked because it was meant to be humiliating. So, when that cross, first of all, the pain of being nailed is one thing. Then there is to be hung. So you raise that cross up, and in that one action, the body drops. And is then suspended in a way that makes that person, you see, if you notice that the statue or the drawings, his ribs are always up and out. Because that's the position. It's a position of permanent exhalation. So to breathe, you have to push yourself up and down. Push yourself up and down. Now, remember that back? Mm-hmm. So, this wood that Jesus is on is not this kind of wood, though. It's not like this, that they polished it. It's tree. They just hack the tree down and put it up. So, I want you to get a visual of what we're talking about. He has to push himself up to breathe. Every single, and he was there for hours. Hours. So, one day I asked God, I said, why that kind? You know, the Bible says, even the death of the cross. Not just death, that death. And I asked, why? Why that one? Why couldn't it have beheaded him? Shot him with an arrow. He'd have still died. Why that kind of death? Why so graphic? Why so public? And he said to me, so you will remember. So you will remember. Jesus was a signpost of love for the whole world to see. Such that no matter what life throws your way, it had to be that graphic. It had to be that public. So that nothing life would change, like Paul was saying. Neither height nor depth, nor death nor life is able to separate me from the love of my Jesus Christ. Why would Paul? Paul wasn't a disciple. Paul was maybe 40 or 50 years after Jesus died. Why would a man who only saw Jesus once in a vision, in a beam of light, have that kind of persuasion? The death of Jesus on that cross, it carries. It has remained potent through millennia because of the graphic nature of that death. We are unable to wipe it out from our minds. It is seared in our spirits that God died, even that kind of death, to show me, Iwisi, how recklessly he loves me. How unashamedly he loves me. When he told me he loves me on that cross, he didn't stammer. He didn't stutter. He didn't hesitate. He didn't seek permission from anybody. Why? Because nobody was there when he was deciding to love me. So I thank God that it's not a democracy. Thank God that there's no election. There's no shortlisting as to who deserves to be loved, because I would not have made the cut. Thank God for Jesus, who decided to love me regardless. Angels had not seen him before. This is the word of God made flesh. You can imagine the legions that were standing at the base of that cross waiting for his command. All he had to do was nod his head, and they would have laid waste to everybody there, to everybody on the planet. It wouldn't have cost them anything. So when I look at my Jesus now, I say, your Godhood is not walking on water. That is a fantastic thing, but that's not your Godhood to me. He's not raising the dead. It's fantastical. That's not why you're God to me. You know why you're God? You kept silent when you could have spoken in your own defense. Big God, big Jesus. Took all that grace, all that power, and kept his mouth shut for me. Pilate was looking for a way to let him go. Tell me anything. Just tell me. I want to set you free. He says, don't worry. This power you think you have, it was given to you from above. Don't worry. He didn't give this man room to set him free because he knew that I, EWC, in 2001, would need proof of God's love for me. Looking at my dead mother, I needed proof that was more real than her body. And the cross of Jesus is more real. And anything my eyes see, or my body feels, sickness or pain or joy, nothing is more powerful than Jesus Christ on the cross, and on the cross for me. And so Jesus on the cross is in defiance of my life and the weakness and the pain. It is my reminder that whatever happens to me, I am loved by God. Deeply and irrevocably. When he said it is finished, what he meant was it is perfect. It cannot be undone. What I have done on this cross cannot be reversed. That's why it took God himself. Had it been something that was less important, they'd have sent an angel. And many people descend from heaven. The reason it had to be God was because only God could write a love letter so deeply etched that nobody, no Nero, no all those people, all of them combined, carry them and pack them on one side of the scale. Pack my Jesus, he still outweighs them all. They've tried everything, but Jesus remains true, come what may. And so I know. I doubt the sun, doubt the stars, doubt my eyes, doubt my nose, doubt everything, but never the love of Jesus Christ for me. Never. Never. And that bit God cannot do for me. He can love me. He can show that he loves me. But my knowledge, my belief, my fighting to keep hold of the knowledge of it, that is my job. Nobody can do it for me. So my battle is not, thank God. Imagine if my battle was waking up and trying to convince God to love me. If every day I had to try, I'd get up and say, God, please, if I do 50 sit-ups and I do 100 laps, maybe you'll love me more. Where will we be today? He has taken that one away. Don't worry. I love you. So my battle is won. Everything you are seeing, it comes in different, it may come in today, the actor wears one costume, another costume. All of that is a battle for one thing. One thing. To exchange your knowledge of God's love for the lie you are seeing around you. And so when I look at my mother, and I still see her till today, in my mind's eye, on that mortuary table. And I know that Jesus was there with me, as he's here with me now. Why did it happen? We are at war. And there are casualties to war. These things will come. The sooner we realize that, the better prepared when they come. To shine brightly for Jesus, regardless. Because a light in the sunlight is nothing in the sun. But put that candle in the darkness and it will shine. And many will be drawn to the power of its light. And so we are being trained for those days where we shine brightly for a king who deserves it. Doesn't he deserve it? So I gather all my pain. Like she said, we don't waste it. Not a drop of my pain will go to waste. I pack it in the morning. Bring it to my Jesus. Tell him how worthy he is. I speak to him in spite of that pain. I'm not disregarding the pain. I'm telling you. So when my God is in a room and I'm worshiping him, he knows what I'm worshiping him through. He knows. It's not the song I'm singing. He knows the battle I fought to get there. Which is why you see some people, and when they're worshiping, they don't have great voices, but the power in the room is you can't understand why. It's because of their past. So we don't waste it. We pack it up, sweep it up in the morning, pack it up and bring it to Jesus, where it counts. Everywhere else is nothing. Take it to a doctor, like she said, a doctor who doesn't know anything, saying stupid things like what he said to her. He doesn't know any better. Bring it to God, who will take pain and make monuments of pain. People will come to you and say, tell me how you are able to smile. And you are given the chance to shine and say, it's Jesus the Christ. Only one person can do things like this. So you are God's masterpiece in the making. Masterpiece. Stand still and let God finish his good work in you. Finish his work in you. When you are done, many will be drawn to Jesus Christ through you. That's how our lives become. That's how we rise. That's how we become bigger than who we're born to be. Your mother gave birth to you and you're just a middle child. That's what she thought about you. But when we give our pain and everything to Jesus, we rise above society, above a statistic. She is a blazing example of Jesus. You know what a witness is? I bet law. It's someone who can come and say this person is who they say they are, or who they say they are. You're either a witness for or against a person. So if she comes, or if any of you, and you come and say, I attest that this Jesus is who he says he is, and I'll tell you why. That's what it means to witness. Everywhere you go, you witness his goodness. You witness to people. Let me explain. I am living proof that this guy is who he says he is. Let me tell you why. That's how we shine. That's how we rise. I may not have a podium, I don't have a mic, but you see everybody that comes my way, every smile. I'm smiling in worship. I'm worshiping because really, if I look with my eyes, I shouldn't be smiling. This act is an act of sacrifice and worship to a God I can see inside you and all around you. I'm not smiling because you deserve the smile. You probably even hurt me. But I see my God. I bow my head to the God who bowed his head to death for me. This is Jesus the life. Not life carrier. Life himself bowed his mighty head to death for me. I'm sure angels were slack-jawed. That's when we became Satan's enemy. That's when he knew. So people of God, don't allow this life to deceive you. You owe it to this Jesus, who has done so much to show how much he loves you, to come back to him. Bring the pain. Bring it all. Like she said, like Sister Salt said as well. Bring all the pain. Bring the tears. Bring everything. But bring it to Jesus. Worship him with it. When you open your mouth and sing it is well. That man that wrote that song, it is well with my soul. I'm sure we know his story. There's a reason that song is still powerful today. It's because of what he wrote it through. So, your pain is God's script. It is his paint. He takes and he uses it to paint a masterpiece. Don't waste it. Don't spend too much time asking why. Just give it to Jesus. And watch him do what only Jesus, my master, can do. A master makes masterpieces. Allow him. Am I not standing here today? I can't condense 18 years of ups and downs. Trial. Designed specifically to bring you down. That is tailor-made. But Jesus, my fastest, deepest, brightest, wisest, was there waiting. There's nothing like having Jesus. He's waiting. He preempts the storm. He's waiting already because he knows where the storm will hit. He's there waiting for you. And the peace of my God that surpasses human understanding, he infuses you with it and allows you to stand tall when other people would have cowered and fallen. So my prayer, if I've said nothing today, number one, when you're wearing makeup, when you're wearing your clothes, tying your scarf, that's the love of God. Wear it like armor and face this world. And when life asks you stupid questions, bring Jesus on the cross. Show them the picture. That's the evidence of how loved I am. Nothing can take it away. It's finished. It's finished. It's done already. It's finished. It's complete. Heartache, trial, betrayal, all of it. You can never be more than the love of God for me. And then take all your pain to Jesus. Rise and become the masterpiece you were saved to be. The masterpiece you were saved to be. God bless you. Hallelujah.
Somebody, can we just appreciate Jesus for all our speakers? Can you just really tell God how grateful you are that you are here today? Thank you so much, Iwisi. Thank you so much. I don't know about anybody else here, but it just kept climbing. It just kept climbing, and for me, you know, in the morning, if you were here, I was telling you about what I'm struggling through and how things were just coming at me from left and center. I now realize what was happening was trying to make me doubt the love of God for me, or to make me feel that something else was more important than this thing I already have. Ha! They were trying to get me cheap. Guys, don't let the world that she described, that we've heard here, get you cheap and make you take your focus off the signpost of God's love. That's what happens to us. That's where we get depressed. That's where we lock ourselves in a room crying. You took your eyes off that signpost of God's love. That can be the only reason. Why? They didn't do this. They didn't do that. They didn't do. You have the love of God, the creator of the universe, that he has expressed so graphically. And you're moaning because some ABC didn't do X, Y, Z to you? Yes, God's love he can't come down and love you. Yes, we want him to express the love through people. But the world is a fallen world now. And the devil is not here to watch you enjoy that love. That's his job 24/7, to make you, and how he also is working through what? Human beings. But no, I wrote it down. Me, salt, if I had the mirror, you, as God lives, I will not let anybody continue to make me doubt God's love for me. By calling me things or telling me things or whatever, I'm resolute. And by the grace of God, so help me. That picture she painted, that's how wide God's love is for you. It's like this. And see the pain just to make you remember that you are loved. You are loved. The signpost of God's love. The attacks will always be there. Everything that happens to you is to make you doubt God and his love for you. So, since we now know in advance, so in fact, I'm ashamed of myself. Because I began to buy the lies. That if this is not X like this, then nothing, I'm not, I'm this, maybe that. which is exactly what the enemy wanted. It's not even about the human beings. Because we're pawns in this game between the devil and God. The devil doesn't care about us, so he just wants to show God that, see these ones you love so much, see them. It's about that between him. But we mustn't let the devil do that to us. I really like, it's really true. There will always be casualties of this war that the world is at, and the content on the TV screens there, if you've been watching, those are people that I've loved, really loved, and that have gone home. So you see them there. And when she was saying that, I was like, really? Yeah. But the joke is on the devil, though. The joke is on the devil. Because as long as we know those people were in Christ, they've gone home. They've gone home. And what has made me, and I'm really grateful to the Holy Spirit for making me to remember, if it's a grief of a lost one, your stories and I are so similar. This mommy story, it's amazing. I just realized that for a Christian, there is really no death. They've just shed this tent that we're wearing and they're ahead. It really helped me with dealing with Sholly. My mom's when I was really young, but this Sholly's, it really crushed me, But out of it now, the phoenix is flying. It's okay, no problem, But it's true. But you have to reorientate your thinking to realize that God's own cannot be lost. They are not lost. And like Inyoluwa's story said, even we ourselves who think we have died over and over through the things we have gone through, God's love keeps us alive. I relate to her story as well. Rising 2, I shared with you, those of you who were here. I will not go into that again. But in trying to wrap up this and then go to the vote of thanks and then hoping that Oma, our food parks here and all of that, awesome. Guys, everybody has a story. I know everybody here. If we call you up to come and we can make four speakers out of all of you. We all have a story. But we've shared ours. They've shared theirs. But please, know one thing. God will not be mocked in your life. I don't care what it is you're saying, what these people are saying, what you're saying to yourself, because I think sometimes our self-talk is even the worst, and what the other people are telling you. And I want to stand here as an example of what I've been dealing with, in the past weeks or coming here. It was almost as if I was a laughing stock. But I sat here watching you guys and listening. And I just said, it's true. God will not be mocked. And I am not just glorifying the dead over the living. That's what I've been told. So, I'm keeping my eyes on the signpost of God's love for me. My way of keeping myself sane. So please, and I always say it, do not look at salt and say, oh, salt has it all together. No. But I struggle from a place of victory. I struggle from a place of victory. I know I've won already, so it's a process. So it's all good. It's all good. Wow. I don't even know what to say. I'm even hungry. Are you not hungry? I'm just hungry, honestly. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank all the vendors, the lights, every single vendor you see that work with me today. They'll say, okay, no, it's this, but because it's Sholly, I want to be part of it, so let's make it this. It's this, so let's make it this. This woman came here, nothing. She just said, look, thank you all for that. Delightsome Concept, Jason Davids, Eki Thrills, the Chizoba and the Orchid Hotel staff, Photo Lighthouse, that is allowing us to, if they were not praying. Because you know what happened. Benita, what time is it? 4 dot, okay. So, first of all, trustees of Shola Adefolalu, thank you, everybody, thank you. Vote of thanks is over. Let me just say this, and then we'll close. We'll pray. I was being attacked, like verbally. No one knows which buttons, whatever. But because they were Thursday, I was like, what? I'm going to say I'm sick on work on Thursday, and people are going to see me streaming something on Saturday. So those all kind of things it was real. But I really thank God, because I know that the enemy wanted to shut this event down. No joke. And it's not even about who or what or whatever. It was just, I know Ike says no enemy, no, this one I know. That's the power of prayer. So I thank them. But I share that for you as well, so you know that you have a choice in who you're going to obey when you're faced with a particular situation. I mean, my price was on today, so I was like, no, anything but this event, because I know it's not just about me. It's about all you faces I see there, all of you here who have stayed from 11 a.m. to 4. Because clearly there was something for you here. This is what the devil wanted to steal from all of us. So I'm really grateful to God. And I want to just kneel down and thank God. And then when I'm trying to get up, somebody come and please help me. So that I really just want to, please help me join and just help me thank God, please. Please help me just thank God that this event stood, that we have held it, that it's gone.
Oh, Lord,
thank you so much, oh Lord God. Thank you, my Lord and my God. I am grateful. I'm really grateful.
Lord,
I'm really grateful.
For all you have done.
I'm just grateful. Thank you, Sholly. Thank you for all you've done in my life.
We are grateful.
Thank you for always keep blessing me and taking me higher.
For today.
For your grace. Thank you for the speakers. Thank you for every single person you have brought here today, oh Lord God. I'm really grateful.
We are grateful.
Where would I be without you, oh Lord God? In a mental home for sure.
For all you have done.
Thank you. Trade this love. Help us to remember. Help us to remember.
For the sign.
Help us to remember how much you love us.
Oh Lord,
help us to remember
for your love.
Thank you, Papa God. I love you so much. Thank you for loving me more. Thank you for loving me first. Thank you for helping me stand up from my knees. Thank you, O Lord God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, O Lord. God bless you all. Let's eat, please.
Lord, I love you forever. I love you, I love you forever. I love you forever. I love you forever, Lord. I love you, I love you, I love you, Jesus, forever. Oh God. With all my heart, I love you, Lord. Hey, forever. Oh, I love you with all my heart. I love with everything. For you first loved me. You gave yourself when I didn't deserve you. I love you, Lord. I love you, Lord. Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, Lord God. With everything in me, yes, Lord. I love you,